The Lisa mattress is the key to a quality night's sleep. It's designed for body contouring and pressure relief for all types of sleepers. The Lisa mattress is loved by more than 300,000 happy sleepers and backed by more than 12,000 five-star reviews. Right now, get $150 off the Lisa mattress plus a free pillow at lisa.com/bombcast and enter the promo code BOMBCAST at checkout. This is Lisa's best offer at leesa.com/bombcast and the promo code BOMBCAST.
It's Tuesday, November the 20th, 2018. It's the Giant Bombcast. Somebody intro the show.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
That's right.
Hey, everybody, what's up?
It's Tuesday, the 14th.
What's up, gamers?
Let's get that bread. That's
like, comment, and subscribe.
That's right. Ring that bell if you want to get all the latest videos from your favorite jam band.
Thank you.
What's up, Notification Squad?
That's right.
That's right. First to comment. Comment on this video if you're watching it in 2018.
Selling tainted granola out in the parking lot along with live sides.
All hail Gamer Nation.
That's right. That's right. Vape it up.
Welcome to Brad's last Bombcast. He will
Remind
be
me
leaving this mortal coil.
Don't eat one of those energy bars from the thing next door right before this thing.
The next door energy bars.
I don't need anything from the place next door.
Oh, that's
Did you know they use our
it's good.
bathroom?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
I see them in there all the time. That's fine.
The gall.
They're nice over there.
Man.
They're part of this building.
They're
That's
very
what they want you
proper.
to
The food is pretty good. But now I have a bunch of oats in my throat,
Throat oats.
and that's not good.
You can't keep saying that.
I can.
Thanks,
I will.
Oats.
Drink
Can't-
some oat milk.
can't
Wash it
throw-
down.
Oats.
That's hard to find right now, actually. You can't
Yeah.
find it anywhere.
Oat milk?
Oat
Yeah.
milk, yeah.
What happened?
This is
What
places
Is
in
it?
Berkeley.
It's like the whole cookie butter craze. Like, oh, I got to get
yeah.
my oat milk.
Oat milk
No,
is the
okay.
hot new milk.
All right.
It's not.
Ah,
It's still cold.
more of an
Well,
almond.
yeah.
More of an almond milk kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
like 2017.
Although ethical consumption of almond milk may be impossible,
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
given how much water.
Yeah. I know, that's,
4,000 quarts.
that's
for
right.
one almond.
That's right. If you want one almond, it's gonna. You basically they squeeze it out of your body when you buy it now here in California. They're like, all right, you have to pay the water tax the hard way.
I mean, you're 70% water. You're gonna be able to pay that easy.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I eat almonds all the time.
I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. That should hopefully
exciting.
fix the air quality.
But also the rain's
and
gonna
put
be
out the fire.
full
I
I
guess
guess
of
actually
actually
it's-
toxins.
Yeah.
You have to be careful in the rain tomorrow.
That's right. Do not fall face down and drink the rainwater off
No.
the street.
Yeah. Thursday,
Uh,
though, it'll be nice and clean.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You just
finally.
drink the street water, then you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. It's been a roller coaster with the air quality. It seemed like it was getting
Yeah.
better there, and then today seems like it is not as better as it was forecasted to be.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think by tonight or into tomorrow, it's gonna start raining. And,
Today's the first time I've been out of the house since 6:30 p.m. on Friday.
yeah,
It's pretty awesome.
I went out. Yeah, we went. We had reservations that they would not let us cancel on account of, I'm sure, a bunch of people canceled, and they're like, "No, we're going to charge you full price for this whole thing." And
Yikes.
so, my wife and I went away locally for the weekend. We ended up at a fucking wine castle.
Oh yeah. Did it
Okay.
have a cave?
There was a cave somewhere. I don't know. We didn't take the guided tour.
How about a moat?
I did not see a moat.
A moat full of wine.
No, there was no wine moat. So I don't drink wine.
Okay.
So I don't go wine tasting.
Yeah.
So I guess I didn't realize just how up salesy wine tasting was.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Where
yeah.
it was like standing at a bar, like they were like, "Oh, pick which 6 wines." You know, my wife is sipping a little bits of wine, and the guy's like, so basically it was like, "So how many cases can I put you down for?" And it was like, "Nah, dude."
It's extra fucked up because you can get pretty blitzed at a wine tasting
And then leave
just
with
drop
like,
a
whole
lot of
wine.
money
Yeah.
on the wine.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like we went to this wine castle, and then I put it on my Instagram. There was some event, some private event happening while the place was still open.
Uh-huh.
And so there was like a En Vogue cover band sound checking while we were like walking around.
Is it like some startup party or something?
Are we talking 4 members of En Vogue or 3?
It looked like, well, I don't know. There was it did not look like it was like it was not a tribute band. It was not an En Vogue tribute band. It was an En Vogue cover band.
Did they have a Don Robinson or not?
There was a guy with a bass guitar walking around that looked like he was
Not
maybe
the same.
doing something.
That's Rob Donaldson.
Okay. And so, yeah, we got to hear them sound checking and play a couple of songs. But I think it was a bar mitzvah.
Oh.
I think that might have been what we overheard.
Yeah.
Because someone finally asked like a security dude or somebody like, what the fuck is going on around here at your fucking wine castle? Why is like the worst band in the world playing? And then now this En Vogue cover. There were 2 bands. The worst band in the world was, I don't know what the fuck they were up to. But then there was a second stage where the En Vogue tribute band was tuning up. And they seemed way better than the other thing that was going on. And I don't know. Then we wandered around this castle for a while, and it was like, I don't know, this is a castle. All right, cool, let's go.
Yeah. Okay.
Last time I went wine tasting, they had a whole roast pig on the spit there,
okay.
and we got to.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean a pig picking?
It was dude, it was so good. I got cheek. They gave me
Nice.
some of the cheek.
Nice.
And I was just like, fuck, man, this stuff's good.
I don't know. Like I guess I just didn't know what wine tastings were, as I don't drink wine.
Yeah.
So it was this thing of like, oh, there's just a fucking thing here that says if you want this, it's 30. If you want this, it's 40. Like the sliding scale of like, you want food with that, you're gonna come downstairs and do this. And then there was a part of it that just said $6 chocolate upgrade. I want a chocolate upgrade in everything I do.
Just point to things in life that you could chocolate upgrade. Like have a guy with you taking notes.
That guy, Majin Buu. Let's talk about him. Turns things into chocolate, other types of candy.
Other candies, just indiscriminate candies, chocolates.
Yeah.
Cookies.
Like a shortbread cookie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. His little antenna.
I want that dude hanging out with me for a lot of reasons, but one of them is to perform the chocolate upgrade when I need it.
Chocolate upgrade.
Can't say that anymore.
I'm going to perform the chocolate upgrade.
That's right.
Chocolate upgrade.
That's right under oats in my throat on the list of don't say this anymore.
Okay. All right.
It's only $6 though.
Yeah, it was a $6.
That sounds like a low.
That sounds like you're going to get a chocolate.
$6 chocolate. No?
Isn't $2 Chuck $3 Chuck now?
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
It is no longer $2.
It's like $3.50 maybe.
So how inflation is going to get you.
Also, still wine. So no thanks.
Wine's fine.
It's
it has its place.
Okay, yeah. I don't like vinegar.
Yeah.
Dude, if it tastes like vinegar, you're drinking bad wine.
I don't like anything that is in the realm anywhere close to it. So, the dude pouring the stuff for my wife, when I was like, nah, I'm good, dude. He was like, oh, I got grape juice. And he poured grape juice. And then at one point he said like, oh, this is, it's the wine, but we take the alcohol out of it. And I drank it, and even that was too close to wine. I was like, no, man, I like me some grape juice.
You got any Welch's back there?
Yeah, you want to hook me up some Welch's grape. T-bone steak, cheese eggs, Welch's
Chocolate
grape.
upgrade.
And yes, a chocolate upgrade. I'll take all that.
If it gets anywhere near vinegar, the wine is bad.
No,
It has gone bad.
I think what you consider near vinegar and what I consider near vinegar are two very different things.
Okay.
Because I got a pretty wide berth of just like anything that is even approaching it. The wine that people's like, no, here's the wine you're gonna like. I'm drinking it going, fucking no, this is still wine.
See, I love vinegar and I don't like wine.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like both.
I'm a huge disgrace. I'm French as fuck, and my family grew up in like Sonoma County.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Traitor.
shit about wine, don't like it.
I think that honestly, so I think I feel this way, like chip on my shoulder about it, but I think that there's something about a lot of people who grew up in wine country that are like, yo, fuck this shit. Because it just brings a bunch of assholes to the region.
I remember the first time I went to my friend Jeff's house, and he had his like dad, who was a sommelier, like taking us through his family wine cellar, and it was just I hated every moment of it. He's like, "You guys want to taste a little bit?" We were like 16, and he like poured a little bit into a cup, and I
was like, "This is terrible.
This sucks."
Like
Wine's
putting this
awful.
near my face enough so that I can smell it makes me want to die.
I'll have it on occasion now, but honestly, I'm never choosing wine.
No, I get roped in constantly of just like, hey, try this. And I'm like, nope, still wine. Still wine.
E40's wine is pretty good though.
Yeah?
Isn't
I
it like
love
a
my-
tonic wine?
I think that's one of his blends or lines of wine.
A fortified rice wine, something like that, something nice.
Can't go wrong with a good mango scotto.
Yeah,
Or-
E40s.
those-
not bad as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of a honey tinge to them.
Earl Stevens knows what he's doing.
No, Earl,
Yeah.
I went to one of the fat burgers that he owned with, I believe, Merton Hanks. Yeah. It was a fat burger.
I've never been.
It's good.
It's
I think
fine,
I think they'll put an egg on a burger.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
Can't get that at your fucking In-N-Out.
No, you
Five
can't.
Guys.
Got to
They
bring
don't
your
even
own
have
eggs.
eggs.
No, they don't.
They have like 6 things
That's
there.
right.
and one of them's not eggs.
If you like show up with a fried egg and be like, I need a double immediately.
Well, you gotta
pull open their shirt pocket, place the egg inside, so
Yeah.
you know what to do.
you gotta
hook
pay
it up.
You gotta pay corkage if you bring your own egg.
Yeah.
Crackage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Four Loko. Now that's a drink I'll drink.
Even now?
I had a can of Four Loko. Yes, not like regularly, but
Yeah.
like yes, every like let's say 6 to 12 months, I'll be like, I'm here at this liquor store. I'm gonna get a Four Loko, and then it'll sit in my fridge for like a month before I go like, you know what? I'm gonna drink that Four Loko. And because I don't drink very often anymore, I find that the Four Loko is significantly more effective than it used to be.
It's a lot of liquor. It's a lot of alcohol.
Yeah. That was, I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, not within the last month and a half. I was like, yes,
How's
Four
their
Loko for me.
How's their flavor selection?
They
these
changed
days?
it all to like color names. It's now like Four
Oh.
Loko Gold and Four Loko
Oh.
Red, and I had a red, a nice red.
That goes well with steak.
It was
and,
jammy.
like, pasta.
Yeah, it was all right.
Okay.
As Four Loko goes, it was one of the better Four Loko experiences.
One of the worst nights of my life was the night that included some stranger in a cave handing me a Four Loko that was that was already opened and saying, "Drink this,
Drink
this, kid."
Getting some of that cave loco.
Yeah, it
Cave
got-
Loco, and then here's a sealed copy of Defender. That'll be $3.
Was this at a show? I think I might have been at
Yes.
the same cave.
Yeah,
Was it a
was
shitty
like
punk
in
band?
Sutro.
Yeah.
They did a series of them, but
Okay.
I went to a few.
Okay.
There was a chance we were both there. It's
Okay.
cool. Like they set up, like Christmas lights on the roof and had a
Yeah.
generator
Yeah.
and stuff. You just go in the cave and
Okay.
it's like right up on the ocean. It's cool.
And whatever happens in the cave happens in the cave.
Yeah, it gets a little loco in the cave.
Mm.
A little steamy in there.
Yeah. Nothing like a nice cave.
It's cool because there's no stage, so you just get right up on the band.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Did everybody have a good Saturday, November the 18th? I'm sorry, 17th?
yeah.
2018?
Today is the 20th.
Yeah.
You can work backwards from that.
Right.
Why?
Wednesday,
Yes.
Tuesday.
Wait,
It's a momentous anniversary.
why?
It's 20th anniversary of the Phantom Menace trailer premiere.
Yeah, I had a great.
How could I forget?
How did you celebrate? How did everybody celebrate?
I went to the wine cave.
You guys
Or
ring in
I went to the wine castle.
Yeah.
That was how I celebrated. I was like, two things that are shitty: Star Wars and the wine castle.
Yeah.
You can go download that Pod Racer game now from
That's
Steam.
right.
So
That's how they celebrated. They put out
God,
some
was that
fine-
actually timed? Because it seemed
fine
like
Star Wars
it was the
products.
day before. I
it seems
guess.
sudden that a lot of these
I
fucking
doubt-
Star Wars games showed up.
I doubt they were celebrating the release of the Phantom Menace trailer.
May the trailer be with you, I think is what they call that.
I remember
N7 day.
when my mom won tickets on the radio to see Phantom Menace opening night at
Nice.
midnight. I was in 4th grade or something. I was so stoked. We got there. We got our seats. We were right in the front row. I was tired as shit. I fell asleep halfway through the movie
Nice.
because they were talking about some trade bullshit. I said, "Where's the lightsabers?" And they said, "You get those at the end." And I said, "That's not enough." And I went to bed.
Yeah.
Right there in the theater.
Yeah.
No, the band I was in at the time, we played a show in a parking lot of a movie theater. And I had seen the movie the night before.
And then you got up on the mic and said, Dumbledore dies.
It was really hard not to spoil the movie for people that were waiting in line.
I
It
mean,
was,
what
it
do
was
you even
really hard to
I
not.
guess Qui-Gon died.
This movie
Shit.
sucks
Oh,
shit,
fuck,
I think is what
Ben.
some of the stuff I might have thought about saying. A guy
The guy gets cut in half.
a guy dressed up as an X-Wing pilot got a wedgie
Okay.
from a member of the band I was in.
Okay. All right. Which member?
It was Ben.
Okay. Yes.
We had a costume contest on stage, and then he just gave this. It's just like, In retrospect, terrible.
Sounds about right.
At the moment, funny.
That sounds about right.
Now, still kind of funny. Also terrible. That guy was just showing up. He was there to be in his fucking element among like-minded individuals. And then these dipshits showed up to curse into microphones.
This giant man.
This large man
yanks his underwear up while going, eat 'em.
Yes, while shouting, eat 'em.
Okay. Let's talk about video games.
All right, fine.
That's enough of that. What's out? What are you playing?
You know what else is aged like fine wine?
Here we go.
Pokemon.
What?
Let's go. Eevee, Pikachu. Let me tell you guys about it.
Which one did you buy?
I bought Pikachu because he's the poster.
Because he's a detective.
Yeah,
now.
I was talking with Jeff very briefly that Pikachu is better than Eevee because Eevee has all those evolutions he can do, but Pikachu has gone and gotten jobs.
Yeah.
Pikachu's a detective.
He's a working man.
Pikachu's
contributing
a
to
luchador.
society.
Yeah, exactly. But man,
It's voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
in my head, I have it as Danny DeVito.
Should we talk about that before we talk about the game?
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Detective Pikachu, the trailer?
I haven't seen it.
It's beautiful.
I loved it.
I like it. I like the way the Pokemon look. I like how hairy that Jigglypuff is.
Yeah,
I
no,
like
it looks awesome.
Wait,
how terrifying that Mr. Mime is.
is it real world, like live footage with CG Pokemon?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah,
what they're
but they're
doing?
very realistic. Like,
Oh, man.
you know all
Boy,
those.
I have to watch
Here's what
that.
Mario would look
You know
like
what?
in real life images.
I'm just gonna pull it up with the
all
sound
of
off.
those.
It's like that.
Are the Pokemon?
It's
Wow.
it's like if the Howard the Duck people got way more money.
Just gonna watch it with the sound off
and
right now.
computers also, I guess. I think the Pokemon look fucking tremendous in that thing. Like
I'm all
it's
aboard.
like kind of a nightmare, but like I love it.
I'm maybe getting a little Ryan Reynolds out. I don't think he does a bad job with the voice. It's just I'm like, oh hey, it's another Ryan Reynolds voice. I've seen Deadpool. I've seen all those other movies.
So the secret to that, don't see Deadpool. Let's talk
Deadpool
about
was
it.
fine.
Oh my god! What? What is the duck? Is that Psyduck?
Yeah.
What the?
Pokemon are real now,
Holy
Brad.
That's right. They always
Shit.
were, Brad.
Wow, man! I should have either watched this before now or never, ever, ever.
This is what.
Yeah,
this is what. I mean, this is what Pokemon are building to, right? Like with
Totally.
with with Go and now
And
Let's
Let's
Go.
Go.
They're trying to make Pokemon real.
We need to make Pokemon real.
Hang
Yeah.
on. They just gave me the one shot, and then I'm waiting for.
Oh, you'll get like
okay.
a blitz, dude.
They're doing the full on Transformers treatment of like here is our young hip lead. We're gonna hold back the
Yeah.
weirdo characters you want to see. That,
so fuzzy.
wow.
Wait till you see Mr. Mime.
Yeah. Wait and be careful.
He's your new
Fucking
dad.
Look out for Mr. Mime. If you
I
see
guess-
Mr. Mime within a distance like 1,000 yards of a school,
I guess talk about
You
the
need to
game. Holy
call a
shit!
Poke
this
Trainer.
Is, this
Yeah.
is horrifying.
Call Team Rocket.
This
Yeah.
is really something.
called
Wow.
Pokemon Control.
Oh my god, they're everywhere.
Yeah, dude, they're real. Pokemon are real now.
That's why you have to catch them all, because they're going to fucking overtake everything if we don't.
If you held up your phone right now and spun it around the room, you'd see a Pokemon probably, right, Jan?
Yeah, actually. Let me hold
Is
on.
this some kind of they live thing? Where Pokemon are all among us, and we
Yeah, they've always been here.
wait. Was it Squirtle missing?
The squirrel. Is it the squirrel? Is it the same squirrel from Squirrel Squad?
It might be.
What if
knows?
it's the same squirrel from Squirrel Squad?
Holy
He's got the
shit,
sunglasses.
See all the
man.
Bulbasaurs in that trailer?
I feel sick.
For how good it makes you feel,
This-
for how good it is.
It's sick.
I feel nauseated.
Yeah,
Wow.
just go with it.
I feel like the more realistic they make Pokemon, the more trouble I have with using them to.
Who is that?
Mr.
Mime.
What the?
That's Ash's dad.
Let's move on.
I'm glad that
Stepdad, please.
Sorry, Steph.
finally people are delivering on the message that Mr. Mime is fucking gross.
Is that a
Mr.
Pokemon?
Mime is
Is that a
fucking-
Pokemon?
That's
Yeah.
a Pokemon.
What?
Yeah.
It's not a
Terrible.
It's not furry. It's not an animal. What the?
He's not Jinx level terrible.
No,
But
Mr. Mime is
he's still-
terrifying.
I think there are Pokemon made out of all kinds of shit. There's like a fucking garbage can with eyeballs. There's a fucking truck that turns into a fucking robot by now.
There's
There's-
an ice
right,
cream
right.
cone.
I, don't-
Yeah.
I have not kept up with more recent Pokemon, so
There's
I'm
like
just assuming
a
here.
turtle with a twig on his head.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what a
There's
Diglett
a
is
tree?
still.
No, that's no. What about a Doug trio?
3 of them, but still don't know what they are.
Totally different thing though. Evolves into 3 of them.
I don't feel well. Talk about the game.
So I picked up the Pikachu version. There's 2 of them out right now. And it's pretty much just Pokemon Yellow. from back in the day, the Game Boy Color release. It's the original Kanto 150 out. If you buy the bundle, get this neat little Pokeball.
Okay.
And
Does that do anything, or is that just a squishy?
So you can use it as a controller in the game.
Oh.
It has a little nub on it. It's okay. It's okay. It's got a button on top.
Like syncs with the Switch?
Yep.
Weird.
Syncs with the Switch.
Huh.
It will also sync with your phone for Pokemon Go, won't it?
Hell yeah, it will.
Yeah.
And it kind of cheapens the experience of Pokemon Go because it'll automatically swipe every Pokestop or gym you go to. So you could just be cruising down, walking, driving, biking, whatever, and just swiping all the stops, filling up your items. It's pretty neat. But I'd say, I was thinking of this the other day, that I'll have fun when I'm playing a game, but I often won't be smiling. I'll just be like, oh yeah, cool, that was satisfying.
Yeah.
But the whole time of playing Pokemon Let's Go, I just have had the biggest fucking smile on my face because of how adorable everything is. And just like when I was playing as a kid, like blue and red and yellow, just imagining what stuff would look like and actually seeing how
Like,
it looks now.
This is kind of a remake of those games in some ways,
Yeah,
isn't it? Like,
I'd almost say it's like a remaster
Yeah.
almost of everything from the Game Boy stuff and the DS, 3DS stuff. But I'd say, so the biggest change is that you can actually see the Pokemon in the wild. There's no more random encounters.
Wow.
So before you'd
That's
have
huge.
to like run around in the grass and
Yeah.
like randomly like, oh fuck, it's a Zubat. Oh fuck, it's Eradicate. But now you can actually pick and choose what you want to run into. And so it's made by Game Freak, but they've introduced elements of Pokemon Go into this game. So the catching of wild Pokemon is no longer battling them to weaken them.
Yeah, this was the stuff that I did at E3, and they had me handle one of those balls,
yeah.
and we couldn't get it to throw straight. It just seemed like broken almost.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, haha, it's just to get a little bit straighter, a little bit straighter." And I'm like, no, I think Abby and I both were trying it. And I'm just like, this seems fucked. What do you think?
It's been okay. I've mostly been playing handheld, but when I first got it, tried out in the studio and I was doing overhand throws, it was mostly okay.
Okay.
I've read that a lot of people have been having trouble even connecting their Pokeball to their Switch.
Oh wow.
I don't know if it's just environment or Bluetooth or whatever. But yeah, it's been okay. You can't turn the motion controls off, which is kind of a bummer. Even if you're playing in handheld mode, your Pokemon will be like running around the screen, and you kind of have to like move your Switch to like get it in frame to throw your Pokeball.
Yeah.
But catching is you're just throwing a ball. You don't have to weaken a Pokemon at all. There's no battling random Pokemon.
This looks nice.
Yeah,
I
it's
just pulled up.
very
I
pleasant.
haven't seen it. I just pulled up some footage, and I
I
can see how if you were attached to this nostalgically,
Mhm.
seeing it rendered like this would be pretty satisfying.
And I'm glad to hear that there's like a real game there, because that was the other thing at E3 coming away from it. It was just like, okay, so it's like kind of trying to capitalize on the Pokemon Go stuff.
Yeah.
But like, what do you really like? It seemed like a really thin thing.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people, like myself included, just pooping on it, thinking like, "Oh, this is going to be the real game that Game Freaks makes." But it's exactly like how Pokemon Yellow was. It incorporates the different types that they've introduced through the generations and everything. There's like double battle, like 2-on-2 battles and everything.
Yeah.
IV EV training is still in there, which is like hardcore, like your Pokemon's truest potential, what it can do. But yeah, it's a full-fledged game, and like I fucking dig it a lot.
Cool.
It has a two-player mode, two-player local mode that you pop off another Joy-Con or sync another one on your friend or whoever can join you for some of the battles. I'm not the biggest fan, only because that person is just taking your Pokemon and there's no progression as far as I've seen of the second player. They're just joining in and everything.
Does the first player still get those Pokemon if they join in? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like all contributing at least to one.
I'd say it's good for like if you have like a little kid with you. And my only problem, it's a minor problem with the game so far, is the connectivity with actual Pokemon Go. You have to kind of go get at least 15-ish hours into the game before you are even presented the chance to sync Pokemon Go with Let's Go, which I kind of understand, because if you've taken Pokemon Go very seriously, you have super overpowered Pokemon, You could even have legendaries.
So is that what it is? You're just bringing stuff from Go into the Switch game? Wow.
Yeah. So you're trading. It's a one-way trade. You take your Pokemon from Pokemon Let's Go Pokemon Go into Let's Go, and then you bring them into an environment. You can catch them there and incorporate them into your normal party.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they don't go back. It's not like the experience gained there goes back out to Pokemon Go.
No.
Do you lose them from Go when you transport them?
You lose them from
wow.
Go.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Jeez.
So it's a little bit of a commitment. It was like, do I really want to lose this Pokemon in Go for Let's Go?
Does that make it kind of a money sink in terms of like Pokemon Go is the thing you can spend real money on? And then if you're like sucking your Pokemon out of that, suddenly you're like, well, I got to fill the gaps here. Maybe I pay to do this and do this.
I definitely think so, especially because a lot of what I imagine a lot of the Pokemon people would want to trade in are the legendaries that are parts of like raids or time exclusive stuff. So they'd be dumping more money in so they could get more raid passes to even get those Pokemon.
Right.
But in Pokemon Go, they've released up to Generation 4, but you can only import Gen 1 Pokemon into Let's Go.
Can you import a Pokemon with Surf and then get to that little island and push the truck and get Mew?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the other thing. You don't have to carry a Pokemon with you for like HMs or hidden machines.
Cool.
What?
Yeah. Your partner Pokemon, Pikachu or Eevee, learns all that stuff.
That's great.
And it doesn't count as like one of its 4
Yeah,
moves.
that is like those first couple of generations of Pokemon. That was like, in some cases, that was the point where I was like, I need to stop playing this because it's too like I don't know what to do. Like who's gonna learn cut?
Always get with someone. You always have to have someone with Fly. You always have to have someone with
Yeah.
Surf. You always want Flash in case you need it because like, well, what if I fall in a cave?
What the fuck are you people talking about?
Hidden machines.
Hidden HMs.
You know, not technical machines.
You know, like how in Metroid you're guarded by, you can't get, your progression is guarded because you need certain abilities.
You need to teach a Pokemon how to cut down a tree before you can cut down a tree and move forward on a path, basically.
Give a Pokemon a fish.
But since Pokemon can only hold 4 moves, you're basically turning a Pokemon into a less useful fighter by giving it this
Teach a
movement
Pokemon
ability.
to fish.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'd say is before, if you catch more Pokemon outside of your initial the 6 in your party, they'd be transported to a PC, and then you'd have to find a PC in a Pokemon Center or whatever. There's a computer in the game, and then manage your Pokemon from there. Here, you can do it all from your options menu. You can send them away to Professor Oak. You can change your party and adjust on the fly, so you don't have to go back and forth. So that's that on top of eliminating HMs is a fucking welcome change.
Cool.
Yeah. You can also ride your Pokemon. That's fucking dope.
That's
Can't-
what?
yeah,
No.
there's certain Pokemon you can mount, right?
Hell yeah. I got a Snorlax.
You have
and
to
then
establish dominance, right?
Mm.
Oh, totally. On top of catching them, you need to just mount them. But yeah, my Snorlax in the game, I'm just hugging on to him along with my Pikachu, and he's just like walking us down the road. It's neat.
That's cute.
I don't know,
Love it.
man. I think what you were saying about that trailer is like the more realistic they get, the worse you feel about this whole thing.
That you're just like, it's basically dogfighting.
Right.
But they want to do it.
Yeah.
They love it. And they never get hurt for real.
Nope.
You can-
There's a Pokemon hospital,
with
but
free
but
Pokemon
don't
health
think
care.
too hard about what that means. They just shine the light on them and then they're fine.
Yeah.
I can pet my Pikachu in the game. That's also cool. He's cute.
That looked like one of those anime girl like boob touch simulators. Honestly, just rubbing a hand on a Pikachu.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, so sometimes there
Never
are
heard
games
of.
with okay. You know what anime is?
No, not a fan.
Is that new?
Yeah, just came out.
Cool.
Go to anime.com to find out more.
No, don't.
Don't go. I have no idea what's at that website.
Yeah.
Don't actually go there.
Or go and find out. I mean, I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
What's
Yes.
you know?
Open a private browsing
Go
window.
to that
That's
website
Be,
at your own
be
risk.
adventurous on the internet, unless you're at work, I guess, and your work cares about stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even then.
Even
just
then-
experiment. Try it out.
Just say you heard it on a podcast.
Yeah.
Just do it in a private browsing window. You can't get arrested for any crimes you commit in a private browsing window.
That's right.
Everyone knows that.
That's how
Sign
that
up for a
works.
VPN service.
Jeff, I understand you have played a bit more Fallout 76.
Yeah. I guess we
How
haven't.
did that
We
go?
have not talked about that at all.
No, we
here.
haven't. The quick look live that we did last week was my first experience with the game. You had played a little bit of it before that.
Yeah.
I have not played it since then, although I kind of want to.
Why?
For reasons I can't explain.
Yeah, no, it's so I did play a little bit more of it, just so you know I would have a little bit more to say here. I guess I don't know. I wanted to complete a public event and see what the fuck that was. That game's bad. I think that game is It's like, this will sound harsh. I think it's shitty. I think it is like the exact opposite of what people want out of a Fallout game. And I think on top of that, it does not run or execute particularly well. So it's very buggy. It is fucked up in the way that online games can be fucked up, like players disappearing, like the party stuff,
we
acting
had some
weird,
bad matchmaking stuff.
That stuff
in the video.
I saw someone yesterday talking about their experience post-patch, still having even worse networking experiences and all that sort of stuff. I think structurally, it's just this bizarre thing that just I'd like to see like what's the PowerPoint for, like, hey, here's the game we want to make. What does that look like compared to what this is? Like, what was the core idea beyond, like, I don't know, let's make an online Fallout game. Like,
So, yeah,
what was the goal?
Let's set it up. It's full price,
Yeah.
$60 game, right?
Yeah,
$6 game, no monthly fee, no nothing.
So you buy the game.
Two tiers above that if you want to spend more and
Sure.
get,
but no ongoing fee.
But a shop where you can buy plans to build more stuff and also cosmetic stuff.
And it is a fully multiplayer experience with 24 players per server.
Yes.
Very few actual quests, from what I understand.
It is the full world and framework of a Fallout game with none of the characters or story.
Yeah.
Basically.
There's kind of a main quest that guides you along through audio logs, right?
Right. And so it seems like that. And the game kind of gives you a lot of tutorial stuff through those audio logs in a way that feels very slapdash and like, oh shit, we need to teach people how to build a camp. So we're going to have someone go like, I always loved camping as a kid. Now I get to do it all the time.
But not someone saying that, just an audio log.
Just an audio log of someone saying that.
Because there's not NPCs in the world. They're like,
we found a human vendor or
Vendor.
a super mutant vendor
There are vendors.
that was like that I was surprised. But generally, yeah, it's you walking up to computer terminals, and in some ways, that's almost like a truer to the concept take, because after a nuclear war, you'd be like, yeah, there's no one out here. It's fucked.
In their defense, not that this justifies the nature of the game at all, but at least in story terms, like, you are basically the first vault to open up after the bombs. So, like, there is a story justification for why there are no other humans, because they're all still asleep in vaults.
But what about like the raiders in Fallout 3? They didn't come from a vault.
I guess not.
But there are people who survived. So and so the thing
or are they the descendant of people who came out of vaults? I don't know. This is a prequel. Like, I went back and looked at their story set up for it, and this is set before the other Fallout games.
Right. So the idea, though, is that you're getting out there, and there were people who survived the attack, and some people who got this disease or whatever that turned them into scorched. And those are the enemies in the game.
They're not ghouls?
They're not ghouls.
Okay.
There are ghouls.
And you will, fight them, and they can be armed with any weapon, guns. They're still smart enough to use a gun.
You see any of the T-posing ghouls?
No.
I've seen a lot of clips of just ghouls, lines and lines of ghouls running at people.
Well,
fully
that's really
T-posed
scary.
out.
I mean, that's way scarier, honestly.
That's pretty creepy.
I
just would. Yeah, kind of like you said, like hearing their internal pitch for this, like why did they leave out characters and storylines?
Why did they want to? I get, I guess on some base level, like, hey, what if we made a multiplayer Fallout game? Yeah, okay, but it doesn't have any of the stuff that especially like even Fallout 4 had character to it. It had like likable, interesting plot lines and stories, whereas this is just like some voice or some terminal you read saying like, shit's bad, we need to do this. The closest I've come to like a human voice, and I don't know if you ever get to see these guys in game. My guess is you don't, but pretty early on the quest leads you in the direction of a crew called the Responders, and they're a volunteer group of people trying to help in the wasteland. And so you find an empty church that has terminals where the Responders were, and you're like, well, where did the Responders go? And you find a bunch of bodies that are a bunch of the Responders. But then you get to public events, which is like, there'll be spots on the map that have like, hey, this public event just popped, and you have 20 minutes to do this thing. And it's this multi-step little thing of like, I got to find these items, feed them to this machine, and then monsters try to attack the machines, and I need to shoot the monsters to keep them from blowing up the machines, and then everyone who participated in the event gets some shit at the end of it. That's one of them. There are a handful of them.
Yeah, very MMO-ish type stuff.
Yeah, and so when those are set up, you get radio transmissions forced to you. Not like, hey, turn on the radio and you'll hear it, but like a this is coming, you're getting dialogue that sounds like it is coming from someone in the moment. That sounds like it is someone saying, like, there's an attack over here.
Yeah.
That, like, if that person's dead or an AI, or, well, maybe it's an AI. Fuck, who knows? But, like, if that person is dead, that would be a weird transmission for them to have recorded before they died. But I guess considering this exact scenario happens once an hour or something, maybe they recorded it once, died.
The point is, you see all these signs of inhabitants, but you never have any expectation of actually meeting any of them.
It's like,
right?
Yeah. And so it just becomes like the environmental storytelling joke at large of just like, here's a skeleton with an item on it, and you pick up the item, and oh, it's a good thing this skeleton recorded an audio log before she died, and now I get to hear her talk about who she was, and why do I care? It's bizarre.
Also, like every town just full of closed houses that you cannot go into.
Exactly.
And explore.
Yeah, like there are inside there are indoor environments that actually have a load between them. So like when you'll go to an area and be like, and I don't know if that's a full instance or if that is just it's an internal area and then anyone else could go in there. I'm not sure. So you'll see little spots like that, but yeah, it's also a lot of houses that are completely boarded up and not locations that you can visit in the game. It's just like you'll go into a town and be like, oh, well, there's 3 buildings I can kind of walk into, and one big one that has a load before I get into it, but then a bunch of boarded up shit that is just set dressing, and it's just fucking weird, man. I don't know, like, and that's why I wonder about the pitch. Like, was the pitch like, hey, people loved base building, what if they could do it together? Because that is in the game. You can build a base and find plans and all this other stuff, but you have to like really play through it to find all the plans for all the stuff you might want to build.
To me, at least, that in and of itself is not a bad thing to have. It's just not. It can't be the only thing. Like, I would not engage with that very heavily.
No, yeah.
But the stuff I would want to engage with that is typical for those games is just not there.
Right. And
so you're left with not a lot to do. And
so it's weird because
it doesn't seem like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say there doesn't seem to me much of a sense of permanence at all, because every time you play the game, you're on a different server with different people. And I know you
don't select a server. You can team up with a person and go in with them.
You can
but you
save
don't...
your camp, right?
Yeah, like your camp travels.
So sure. But like, there are never going to be any kind of long-term rivalries or any kind of factions or any really... high-level emergent sort of player interaction happening.
Unless it happens, between people on your friends list, because you can join a friend's game.
But I could see a system where they work in factions were a big thing in the other Fallout games.
It's funny,
There's a reference to the Brotherhood of Steel in one of those audio logs too. So you're like, okay, well, there's the Responders, there's the Brotherhood. It seems the Responders don't really like the Brotherhood. Is there going to be something there?
Nobody likes the Brotherhood. They're a bunch of assholes.
Well, yeah.
It's funny because my girlfriend like barely plays games, but she played all the way through Fallout 4. And when I showed her 76, that was the first thing she mentioned was factions.
Yeah.
Like, to her, that is a huge part of Fallout now, is picking factions and playing them against each other and stuff. So
and
like,
that seems
like they could have recreated that
and
here.
Maybe they end up getting there over time. But, we're also talking about a game where they issued a letter ahead of launch talking about like, hey, we're get through it together. It'll be rough. It's going to be buggy.
Remember,
like, fuck.
It feels like a couple Game of the Years ago, there was just a feeling of, it was kind of right around the time that a lot of early access games started opening up on like the Steam marketplace, and not AAA games, but just, little $15 early access games here and there. And I feel like it was around then the idea was posited, when are AAA games going to start doing this? Because if it doesn't stop here, it's going to keep going.
And Fortnite is technically an early access game.
Yeah, but this just feels so alpha. Honestly, it felt like an alpha.
This is not labeled as such.
It feels like a game missing like all of the content.
Yeah. I could even put up with the bugs if there was just more there to do that I was interested in, but
it feels like a proof of concept for a video game.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we got the online working. It's like, great, now put all the content in. They're like, wait, what?
No, you already gave us $60.
You said we need to ship it now, so we'll work on the content next year.
Did you follow much more of the main quest line? Because I'm curious where that goes.
I've kind of moved in that direction, and where it goes is like, so the Vault Overseer has a mission to find some nuclear warheads, and so you're kind of chasing her as she goes from place to place, and all you find is a chest full of items and another audio log. So you find the audio log, and it's like, all right, her next audio log is at the high school. Go there. and you go there, and here's another box, another audio log.
She's gonna be a skeleton when you find her.
I mean, yeah, like of course, right? I mean,
but does the quest design ever evolve? Because from what I saw, it was like collect X number of thing, or go here and use stationary object.
I didn't even, no.
Is it all just more of that?
It was like, go here, look at this thing, or go here for this public event.
But I mean, without characters in the world to interact with, like, what else can they do? That seems like that's the extent of what they can give you to do.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I've not played through the game. Someone asked me yesterday, like, hey, when you think your review's gonna go up, and I'm like, no one on staff wants to play any more of this video game. Like I'm not gonna subject myself to another 20, 30 hours of this fucking mess.
It's really upsetting.
To put a number on it. My number is fucking don't play this game.
Like, Fallout is one of my favorite franchises. Fallout 3 is Fallout 3 is in my top 10 favorite games of all time. I'm a 4 apologist. I love New Vegas. I kind of came to terms when they started talking about this game that it wasn't going to be for me, and kind of
totally.
Like I knew that. I knew going in, this is not going to have what I come to Fallout for. But the fact that it just doesn't have anything, man, it just seems so barren.
It just seems so off the mark. I was just like, what? Yeah, totally. Like it's weird because I'm in a spot where I would not want them to make another like tick the boxes Fallout sequel.
Yeah.
Like 4. Like I feel like 4 was in a lot of ways. Like 4 was the breaking point for me on the formula in terms of just like you have to either do better on the like bug front and make this thing run better across the platforms you're issuing it on. And make it like a more polished experience, or you need to like make more radical and interesting changes to the formula. And I'm sure for some people the base building was exactly that. So, so take that for what you will. But so at least Fallout 76 is something different, but it's like, it's different in a way you're like, this doesn't seem like a full product. Like this doesn't seem like a complete game. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, we went in a different direction and maybe you like it, maybe you won't. It feels like they went halfway in a different direction and went like, hey, they'll buy it, whatever. Put it out. And it's just, that's bizarre.
How's the interaction with other players on your server? Do you trade with them?
When you hit level 5 or 6, so yeah, you can trade with other players at any point. And then I think it's either level 5 or level 6. When you get to that level, you can turn off pacifist mode. And once you do that, then it becomes you get that concept of like, I'm flagged for PvP or I'm not flagged for PvP.
Okay.
And so that you have the interactions of like, oh, a player shoots another player, that's a hostile action, but the flagging doesn't happen until the other player responds in kind. So like, and you do reduced damage to a player unless that player responds in kind, and then you're like, okay, now we're fighting.
Okay.
Reduced damage, but can they still kill him? Like if I follow a guy around,
I think it'll take way more time, but you can't. So and then the idea
what is that guy gonna do?
Log out. I don't know. To be fair, I haven't seen any PvP combat in the game
seems super
because I haven't seen other players. It's a 24-player server, and now that it's a little ways past launch, like the people that are playing the game have probably leveled past me, and now they're off somewhere else. So when I load up into the game, it's me around this area. 6 hours in, something like that, and I ran into 2 other players doing a public event. And one of them invited me to the team, and we completed the public event, and then they both dropped out of the team and left. And other than that, I've not seen another human since launch day when we saw Doug, whatever. There was a couple of guys.
Doug Labs.
Doug Labs. Yeah.
Dave Labs.
Yeah, Dave Labs.
Dave Labs.
Yes. Enter the Labs zone.
So what about what are you working with in terms of the gunplay, the combat, VATS?
VATS doesn't slow down because it's a multiplayer game. It's auto targeting, and you spend your AP, which is just a rechargeable meter that is drained when you run normally. And so you spend your AP just kind of getting percentage shots at a target instead of manually targeting it yourself. So if you can shoot in that game, if you're good enough to line up shots and do all this other stuff,
should never use VATS.
Well, so you can upgrade, as you unlock perks and all this other stuff, you can upgrade VATS to do to target headshots and all this other stuff and get damage bonuses and stuff to where like it's not useless, but it's not VATS as you know it from previous Fallout games. And it feels like a thing where they're like, we gotta put VATS in somehow because that's Fallout, but also we have this online game, so you can't just bust into slow motion which a lot of games have had trouble solving that issue, whether it's like, oh, just it gets slow within this bubble around the player and everyone else is still moving. Like different games have tried to solve that differently and it's always awkward. But this one is awkward in a way where you're just like, you probably shouldn't call this VATS. You probably should come up with another fun name for it and just say, hey, online games are different. Fucking no VATS. It's this instead. Yeah. Because calling it VATS feels like a slap in the face. If VATS had a face, it would have a big handprint across it.
How about fast action reticle targeting system? You can call it FARTS.
I'm sold.
Great.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Done.
You reminded me when you said the word stamina of probably the thing that there were two things that upset me more than anything during that quick look. One, stamina. You drain it by sprinting, jumping, VATS.
Yeah, and I think that.
But if you're over encumbered, it just drains, right?
It drains when you walk. If you stop moving, you will get your stuff back. But yeah, when you're encumbered, your movement is a lot slower. You know, the encumbrance issues of previous Fallout games are there, but
the
also
thing is, you could okay, I'm just gonna go back to my base or whatever and store stuff here. And move on and not have to worry about my stamina.
It's
being
like it's just
fucked.
it's an annoying maintenance task.
That sucks.
But that's always like to me. There's always been an aspect to Fallout where it's been here's some annoying maintenance task.
But it was like you move slower.
Yeah,
you
can't fast travel. Yeah. That was the other thing.
Well, in the absence of a bunch of quest content, they have to make like upkeep to like an active component of the game,
and
right?
food and drink is a part of the game as well, like keeping those meters filled. And when they drain, you'll have it'll have a further reduction in your stamina and some other stuff like that. So it's like on one hand, it feels like they started down the road of making a survival game, but didn't really get there either. So it's just a weird mess.
The one thing that broke me, though, the one thing was that bobbleheads are now consumable items.
1 hour
last
boost
for an hour, man. Fuck that. That's like
And
that's like an active slap in the face.
And then you start to wonder,
fans.
like, okay, do they start just selling packs of bobbleheads in their in-game store?
Oh, look, there's a new vending machine, and you got a random bobblehead when you put in a quarter.
You don't need a vending machine. They've got an in-game store and an in-game currency.
Now it's a loot box.
It's all.
You don't even get to choose the
bobblehead.
bobblehead.
Choose the bobblehead. Yeah, who knows?
This is exhausting.
That's so. Yeah, I don't know. It's dumb. It just seems like a poor product.
I am very curious about two things. Number one, where is this game in, say, 6 months to a year?
Right.
Like, have they added a bunch of stuff to it to try to attract more people?
Yeah, maybe.
The bigger thing, which is a ways off, is will Starfield have multiplayer? Like, now that they've done this work.
Right.
Now that they have sort of piloted this whole concept.
This sweet engine. Let's hope they're still using it then.
Well, they said they are.
Yeah.
That happened. But I mean, whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Sure.
We don't know what components of that will have been ripped out and replaced by then.
Right,
but,
right.
But more to the point, they have experimented with getting multiplayer working in their specific type of RPG. And that part works, so I wonder if we can just expect all of their games going forward to have some multiplayer.
I don't know that I have an issue with the concept of multiplayer in these games. I think you could make that work. I just feel like this game is not this game is built like a prototype to prove that could work in some other better game that comes out 4 years later or something. This just seems like not there. The other thing is, like, if they had just made a Fallout Online that was similar to Elder Scrolls Online, like Elder Scrolls Online, I feel like was maybe a little rough at the start in terms of just like, how it ran and all this other stuff, but they spent enough time
they've done a ton of work to that thing.
That thing has grown to be a pretty compelling product.
It seems very
like
popular.
They've already got that blueprint. If they wanted to make an online Fallout game, why didn't they do that?
Well,
maybe it would sacrifice the audience they already have for Elder Scrolls Online. But I
haven't played ESO or even seen it since it launched. But my understanding was, didn't they kind of work backwards to make it more like an Elder Scrolls game?
A little bit.
Because when it launched, it just felt like an MMO.
Yeah.
Like, I know you could play it in first person, but it felt like it
didn't quite feel like like an Elder Scrolls game, but like that was the stuff that over time they hammered on it and got it to a point where I played it a couple months ago for a while, and I was like, this is this feels roughly like an Elder Scrolls
Right.
game.
So
Obviously,
I
it's
wonder
online
if-
and there's quests and there's a lot of different stuff with it to kind of support the type of game it is. But like in terms of just the general feel of it, it's close enough.
I wonder if that was their thought process with this, of just like, hey, let's just cut to the chase and build this on the technology and the framework that we already
Maybe.
have
I don't know.
to make this feel like a Fallout.
But at the same time, like this doesn't feel like a framework that could support the type of expansion that Elder Scrolls Online got because of the way that thing was monetized, the way that thing was built. You know, there's a lot of other stuff there that makes that make more sense for this. But at the same time, if they're focusing on Elder Scrolls Online, you probably wouldn't want to go make another game like that splits your user base in half and all this other
maybe not.
stuff. I don't know.
It's a strange release.
It's very much so.
Very much. I guess
so.
that's the reason I wanted to play more of it, more than anything.
Yeah, I think that maybe is what drew me back to it as well. Is just like trying to wrap my head around like, why would you do this? And I don't know that I have the answer, because it seems like in the run up to release, like everything post announcement was, it was not full on no mutants allowed type of revolt, but people were not into the idea. Generally speaking, it seemed like that there was just a lot of resistance out of the community. Like you didn't find a lot of people going like, finally a Fallout game for me, or man, this is the direction I wanted them to go in for all this time. It was just a lot of people going like, nope, this doesn't look like anything. And as more details got out about like, hey, you're mostly walking up to terminals and hitting it. It's hey, you like that robot detective? Nope, none of that.
They said during the press conference that it's going to have like all the things you love about Fallout. It's going to have quests.
Yes, it has quests. I can confirm it has quests.
Turns out quest can mean a lot of things.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they keep working on it because why wouldn't you? But I'm curious to know how well this did and how well it will do kind of as word of mouth begins to spread. Because like I said, it seemed like people were not really, and coming out of the beta, it seemed like you either heard nothing because no one was talking about it.
Yeah.
But the talk you did hear out of the beta, I feel like a lot of it was people going like, no, this is super not what you want out of this. And then maybe there's some quietly happy people that are just building bases and they're like, finally, I can show my bases to my friends more easily or whatever it is. But yeah, like it's a bizarre turn for the franchise.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that strange note, let's take our first break and then come back and talk about more games.
In a world filled with fake news, flat earthers, and conspiracy theorists, what's a thinking person like you supposed to do? Think like a skeptic, of course. On last week's episode of Star Talk All Stars, neuroscientist and host Heather Berlin, PhD, and her comic co-host Ari Shafir investigate the importance of skepticism and the power of evidence-based thinking. To help us separate fact from fiction, Heather and Ari are joined in studio by guests Cara Santamaria and Dr. Stephen Novella, two of the hosts of the popular weekly science podcast, The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. If you're worried about the growing tide of anti-intellectualism and the devaluation of experts and facts, which we're seeing all around us, tune in for a show filled with science and skepticism. Remember, trust no one, question authority, and listen to Star Talk All Stars to get the rigorous scientific thinking you're desperate to hear. That's Star Talk All Stars. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts and make sure to subscribe.
Cards.
Virtual cards.
Packs of cards.
Gift cards?
For $1.99 a piece.
No.
These cards, I was going to say they don't say anything, but they actually do.
Oh, they say a
They
lot.
say a lot.
Such as Meepo.
Meepo.
Mm-hmm.
Meepo.
Yes.
And Meepo. Brad, I've been playing Artifact.
Yeah. We may have a video on the site as
It
of
is,
now.
yeah, I think it is
Did it
up,
make it up
yeah.
yet?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, Artifact is in
The Dota card game.
a closed beta right now. It's Valve's new game.
Yeah, Valve is releasing a new video
Playing
game.
Valve's new video game.
Great.
First time in 5 years.
First time since Dota 2.
Yeah.
Another Dota game.
Oh, well, hey, Dota's hot. I don't know if you noticed.
Dota is hot. But that patch just came out, Brad. It's fucking huge. That changed everything. Anyway.
More like Dota 3, am I right?
You are.
Yeah, good.
You're
I'm glad
right.
I could.
In that
I
regard,
mean, Lich
Yeah,
can't even
you're
sacrifice creeps anymore. What the hell?
Exactly.
what game is Coddle's ult is called Ignis Fatuus.
What?
He summons a will-o'-the-wisp and puts enemies to sleep.
Kundalini.
Artifact is the Dota card game developed by Valve and in conjunction with Richard. I keep wanting to say Richard Gary, but it's Richard
definitely
Garfield.
not Richard
That would be
Gary.
a different game.
That would be a much different game. It's Richard Garfield of Magic the Gathering and other card game fame, and
Hates Mondays.
loves tapping his lasagna,
Mm-hmm.
put it right in his mouth. What?
Nothing.
You gotta love it if you're gonna eat it.
When it comes to lasagna, my motto is you gotta
Add
you
another
gotta
layer.
lick it before we kick it.
They made a Dota card game and it's fun. It's cool. It's cool. I've been playing right now in the closed beta for just a couple days. It unlocked 2 days ago, and it's neat. It's complex, and there's a lot going on, but it has. I think that as a game, it's a good game. It's fun. It's engaging. It has a lot of different angles of strategy. There's kind of it comes down to there being 3 lanes, basic gameplay.
Like Dota.
It is like Dota in that there are 3 lanes, and kind of like Dota, you win by winning 2 of those lanes.
Yeah. Or I guess in card game terms, it's like 3 hands of cards.
Yeah, well,
like 3 separate hands of cards next to each other.
but it's the same hand of cards that plays between all
Well,
three
I
of
guess
them.
I'm using the term hand.
Like
Yeah,
imagine
3 places
imagine
to play
3
your cards.
I guess you have
Hearthstone boards
you have
next
the
to
one.
each other.
Yeah, you have the one hand that your cards come out of, but there are
Yes.
3 separate groups of cards that are distinct from each other.
And you win by taking 2 of those down or taking 1 down once, which exposes the Ancient, which has twice as much health as any of the towers, and then you kill that thing. So you can really like go super hard in one lane, but odds are you're going to lose those other 2 lanes. Every game I've played has ended with 2 lanes being taken out rather than an Ancient. I'm not going to try and even explain how to play because, Brad, you sat down with me as I played a game, and that was your first time?
Yeah, that was the first time I've seen Artifact at all. There's a lot to take in.
And there's a lot to take
Especially if you haven't played other card games of a similar nature.
I would say it is similar in effect. It's like a weird blend of Hearthstone and Magic to a degree. It's got that Magic feel of the goal of the game is to attack sort of the other player directly. Like each tower has 40 hit points, and you do those by using your heroes or creeps that you summon to attack the other player, but you can put down creeps in front of them and they're going to fight each other.
Yeah, you basically want to take out the cards they have protecting a tower so you can strategically do damage to the tower.
Exactly.
Like Dota.
Like Dota.
Got it.
And that's the thing, is this game really does have a Dota feel to it. I think they did a good job of not just making the Dota card game. It feels like they did work from just a good card game model at the base. Like, I feel like it went like this. They sat down with Richard Garfield and said, all right, we want to make a game that involves 3 lanes and heroes. And you go from there. Because it does feel like...
Or just like sit down and like say like, here, watch 100 hours of people playing Dota
Or like, yeah,
and
we're
try
gonna-
to distill that.
We're going to break down what Dota is, and that you just make a good card game around that. And I think they did that, and then they just juiced it full of Dota flavor here and there. Like,
Like
you know,
a cotton candy, like a
no, more of
blueberry.
like one of those turkey syringes that'll put cloves of garlic into your
Okay.
turkey,
Yeah.
you know, like the food syringes. They just like did that. So the turkey is Artifact and the garlic is Dota beans.
They basted the game in Dota juice.
Yeah.
Yuck.
They really did. You can tell I've got Thanksgiving on the mind. Brad, you know, you saw a lot of stuff that made you just kind of... It reminded you of Dota.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Sure. Yes.
No, just every time you try to describe the game, you either get super deep into crazy rules or you say it's like a Dota.
It's a tough game to talk about.
No, I know. I'm not like it's yes.
It seemed like
Ask me anything about the game.
It seemed like
Is it like
there are
Dota? Will Dota players have a leg up on non-Dota
yes
players?
Yes and no. Like there were spots like when you used Luna's
Yes
ult
and no.
card. Like when you used Luna's ult,
Yeah.
it did exactly what I would expect it to do in a card game setting.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
Because I know what that ult does.
Items, you kind of get a sense, do what you think will do. Like a town portal scroll will pull your hero off the board.
Yeah.
A blink dagger will move your hero into another lane.
Like the dude used track on one of your cards, and I was like, he's gonna get that bonus gold, and you were like, yep. It's like,
yeah,
I know that from Dota.
Even at the top level, like, so I had, so let me step back a little bit. There's the deck building. So how the decks work, basically, you have 5 heroes, and heroes and all cards are broken out into colors. There's 4 colors: red, blue, green, and black, which are apparently based off of old D&D roles of barbarian, wizard, druid, necromancer. Does that sound right for old school D&D?
Sure.
Not ringing a bell, but
okay.
I don't know.
And basically each of those cards kind of has a style, like in Magic, of how it wants to play. Where like blue decks are kind of chock full of spells and trickery and sort of this stuff. And green is about like healing and protection, and red is about sustainability.
Did Richard Garfield, he made Magic? Did he make? Yes. He made me. Okay.
And Netrunner.
Yeah, like original Netrunner. Couple other card games.
He made 2 of the 3 popular card games that I can name.
Yeah. And so so you kind of build decks that use typically 1 to 2 colors. So like a red-green deck is going to be a deck that's all about being like big and beefy and sustainable.
Yeah.
And a blue and black deck is going to be about trickery and spells and, you know, like a lot of minions and stuff like that.
Or maybe you just want to go super hard. Go, here's my black deck.
Yep, totally. You can just have I've seen an all-green deck that is just about like making a super strong defense so you can afford to pay super big creeps at the end. So it kind of has that Hearthstone thing where cards have mana costs and you have a starting mana of 4, and then every turn it goes up by 1. So by the end game, you can play more powerful cards or multiple copies of lesser powerful cards and stuff like that. And so the way it works is you've got these heroes, and they kind of work in a way of how you imagine they might work in Dota, where, okay, the red heroes are like Axe and Centaur, and you know how they get right out the gate, these guys are going to be big and beefy, because that's what they are, so they're going to have
with names like Axe and Centaur, you can expect big,
beefy dudes with muscles that love bringing the axe.
Does Axe actually have a name?
Probably. But he refers to himself in the third person as Axe, so
true.
I am not calling him anything except Axe.
That's true.
They also, you know, a lot of these cards, a lot of the hero cards will have either a passive or an active ability. That's one of their abilities from the game. So Centaur has return damage. You know, you hit him, you're going to take a little bit of damage back. Cards also have all sorts of magic-y type effects, like a trample. I mean, that's what it's called in Magic. I forget what it's called in this game. You know, damage will go through the enemies and hit the tower, or, you know, cards will hit other cards like Cleave. Sven has Cleave built in. Makes sense, right? That's his whole thing in Dota. So it kind of I feel like Dota players will have an advantage once they kind of get the base rules down. I feel like everyone's going to start on the same level in this game. Everyone's going to go in being like, what the fuck is this? There's 3 lanes. Where do I play my cards? What is this? The game has a really good tutorial.
Okay.
Way, way better than Dota. Way better than any other.
that wouldn't be hard.
No.
But yeah, like you've played other card games,
yeah,
right? So like between like Netrunner and Hearthstone, like you probably have some kind of a leg up, just conceptually in terms of like, hey, here's what this basic idea is.
Yeah, and that definitely, like, you know, it will benefit you if you like card games in this card game. You know, you'll be able to learn the systems a little bit faster. You'll be able to start thinking about the meta maybe a little bit sooner.
Right.
Like I said, the tutorials though is really good. It really slowly walks you through everything. The game is super generous with information. You can double click any card and read it, and then like keywords will be underlined. You can hover over those. They'll tell you what that effect means. None of the information is obscured.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't feel like they're trying. It really does feel like they're making an effort to make this as accessible for non-Dota players and even non-card players as possible. I have a couple problems with the game itself, like the way the game plays. I feel like it can drag a little bit. I've had games go as long as 45 minutes, which as a card game, that's
so like Dota then.
Honestly, yeah, it's gone as short as maybe 20 minutes and as long as maybe 45 minutes, which is kind of the average window for a Dota game these days. Which
Speed artifact is really going to change things up.
I think people, as they play more and get more comfortable with how the game flows and the cards and everything, it'll get a little bit that top end, I think, will shrink.
Like less time just looking at a card and going, what the fuck do these even do? And more just like, I know what these do, I'm just playing them.
Or like less time, like, oh god, I have 3 lanes, what am I even doing? So that's the thing. I think that the most fun part about this game is kind of strategically figuring out where you want to push and where you want to have your hero show up and gank at other lanes. And it does kind of have that Dota strategy that I like. You know, I play a lot of support in Dota, so I'm often thinking about the map and the team's movement in general. And so it kind of carries that into the card game, which I do appreciate as a Dota experience, but I don't feel like it's an exclusively, oh, you have to play Dota to be good at this.
Did you play Gwent at all?
I did not.
Okay.
I do want to check it out. I heard that it was like a huge overhaul lately.
Oh, wow.
Or recently. And
I don't know about that. I just know like the little bit of Gwent I played, like there was definitely like a play the cards on a position concept to it that kind of sounds similar a little bit to this lane stuff.
Super positional. Well, it's even positional within each lane.
Okay.
Yeah, because
very much so.
Characters are going to attack what's directly in front of them. You cannot choose what things are targeting except for certain cards that'll let you, switch places with your opponent and target this thing. Yeah, it's dense. It's really dense, and there's a lot going on just in the game, but kind of, I don't know, I played maybe 3 matches at PAX, and then up until this quick look, I played probably 6-7 more matches. At this point, I'm fairly confident in my abilities of just understanding the board state, figuring out what I want to do, figuring out which lane I want to sacrifice and which lane I want to put pressure on and that sort of stuff. Now it's just the point of like, I don't know what half the cards do because I've only played with these kind of starter decks that they've given you.
Right.
What if you were to spend another $50?
That's right.
So what's
this leads into
I feel like people have not been thrilled about the money end of Artifact. Like how exactly does it work?
Okay. I'm going to break this all down because it took me a long time to figure this out. $20 gets you the game.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up, it costs $20. With the game, you get enough to make a starter red-green deck and a starter blue-black deck. These are the kind of the tutorial decks. They have you play each of them.
Are those fixed cards, do you know, or is it a random assortment of those colors?
Those are fixed decks.
Oh, God. So everybody who buys the base game is going to have the same decks?
Is going to have those two starter decks.
The same pool?
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And then you also get 10 booster packs.
Oh, that's where the randomness comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so those are going to be cards of any color. There's like, guaranteed 1 rare and 2 uncommons or certain.
But like rare and uncommon doesn't change the game. We're just talking about like, here's a different, slightly shinier version of this fake card.
So
right?
I don't know because there's a huge pool of cards that aren't in the default. And that's what you're getting. You're getting those cards from the booster packs. And I think there are like rare, like I think hero cards are rarer to find. I think every pack has 1 hero card, but then there's also rare heroes. So that's
so it's not necessarily like multiple, but there are multiple versions of the same card, just like with different digital rarity.
It's hard to say.
Okay.
I haven't gotten any like holographic cards like that. But I have gotten cards of different rarity. So that is kind of vague right now. The other way you can spend money in the game is buying tickets. And these tickets will let you get into the advanced modes. There is like there's sort of a drafting mode that is like Hearthstone's arena mode where you pay a ticket, and I think the tickets are $1.99. You pay a ticket, and you have to win 5 times before you lose twice. And if you win 3 times, you get your ticket back. If you win 4 times, you get your ticket in a pack. And if you win 5 times, you get like a ticket in 3 packs. There's another mode that you have to buy 5 packs. And
I was going to say, how much do the packs cost? Is that actually worth it?
And there's Brad and I found out there's no discount really.
Yeah, in the drop down, it's $2 for 1 pack, and if you go to 25 packs, it's like $49.75. So it's effectively no real discount.
And it's still in beta, and
maybe
that's
who knows how fast this stuff's going to change.
So they just, in fact, right before, so this beta went live late Sunday. Right before that beta went live, they unveiled their kind of free version of the drafting Hearthstone arena sort of thing. Unfortunately, there's no kind of prize for it. It's just you just draft a deck and have funsies with it.
The fact that as far as you know, or as far as we know, there is no free progression whatsoever in the game just seems...
Yeah, so that's the thing. There is
like
no way.
Lacking.
Do we know how many total cards there are? Is there a way to see that?
There is a way to see that. It's a lot.
Okay.
It's, I think, in the hundreds.
All right, because that was going to be kind of my question of just like, oh, well, if you're getting all the cards, then some point,
you're not getting all the cards.
And even then, you're not buying the exact card you want. You're buying packs, and you might get duplicates.
Yes, so that's the thing. Like, you can include 3 copies of a card in a deck. So if it's a really vital card to your deck, you're not even...
You might need 3 of them. Or
you might need 3 of them, right? And so you're just getting them all exclusively from packs. There's no way to get the cards you want. There will be a marketplace, much like the Dota item marketplace. And, you know, people are kind of positing that it will be similar to the Dota marketplace in that the cheap cards are going to be, you know, like 10 cents or something,
and that is you buying them direct from Valve, not
from other
Steam.
players.
Okay,
that
Steam
is a Steam marketplace.
Okay,
open item market.
Okay, I figured that. I figured that they would do that. That they would be like, oh, these cards will all be sellable on the Steam marketplace. But then I thought that was something that got shot down 6 months ago or something when we were talking about.
No, that will be a thing, and then
that makes sense. Then.
Yes.
Okay.
They have announced that you can recycle heroes for tickets, those event tickets. So if you get duplicate heroes, you're able to kind of cash them in for entry into those competitive modes. My biggest complaint, I guess, with the mode gating is all the things under casual mode are free. All the things under expert mode cost tickets to play. There is a competitive matchmaking in the free screen, but you don't get to see your rank or your MMR or anything. It just says it's matching you against opponents of equal skill. That's all it says. So there's no real feeling, like Brad said, of progression.
Like I mean, maybe my brain is poisoned by clickers and like RPG mechanics and meters and numbers going up in everything, but the fact that like playing the casual modes gets you absolutely nothing, like even if it's very slow progress, like the idea of playing the basic modes and slowly earning card packs would totally change this conversation.
Totally.
But the fact that the only way to get new cards is to go spend money in the actual store.
What if they sell a battle pass? And then the progression comes from that.
I'd be okay with that.
A lot of it would depend on how long it lasted.
Right.
Like if it only lasted as long as a Dota battle pass, which is typically like 3 months or something, that's not enough. Like if it was maybe an annual battle pass, maybe.
So I would wonder if they would do just like seasonal, like if they do it every 3 months, but they do it every 3 months. So it's not like, oh, there's no battle pass. Like every 3 months there's a new pass, and they're not as long.
As dense as the Dota one, maybe like, you know, a third of that. I think that could work. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna, you know, cosmetic the shit out of it. Custom mouse cursor, custom boards. Like there's little gremlins that float around on your cards.
Those little Greevil looking things are just made to be replaced with other cosmetics.
There's so many trappings of I can see that they're going to really just hammer it home on
me.
They could
really get into that.
But the last thing I want to talk about, there's also an event mode that seems to rotate every couple months, and I think that's the best thing out there right now. Are these kind of non-core, what do they call it? Constructed. So non-constructed seems to be the best way to play this game. And I've kind of seen that sentiment echoed throughout like things like the Artifact Reddit and kind of just the idea of the core of like building a deck is broken right now because you need to get all your cards from booster packs.
Yeah. And
there's no marketplace yet. So it's these other modes. So the mode right now, it gives you 6 decks to choose from. They're all different colored decks. They all have, you know, an explanation. They're all themed around a hero, and it's the hero talking about, here's my, like, it's the Meepo deck. Here's my deck. It's the Meepo deck. It's all about, you know, making a million things, like how there's a million Meepos, and, you know, you flood your opponent, and then you could try and go on a win streak for as long as you can with that one selected deck. The issue is, there's no reward. There's no like leaderboard with your friends, scores, and you know, there's just kind of, it's just all feels very insular. There's no way to communicate on the battlefield. There's no emotes. There's no like clicking on shit because even Hearthstone, you know, it limits you to haha, well played and stuff like that.
Right.
But even that is just something to hold on to. This whole thing just feels super insular.
Which, you know, it's a beta and so.
Well, but I mean, it's coming out in a week and a half, I think.
Is that soon?
It's a very short. It's like 9 days or something like that.
Then,
and I don't think they're not calling it beta once it launches, right? It's just out. Like it's not early access.
Their messaging around it has been confused because I thought there was an open beta.
They changed their plans pretty last minute, like sometime in the last month or 6 weeks. They shortened this closed beta period.
Okay, then I don't think they're going to be calling it early access or anything once they're once it's on the Steam store and you can.
I mean, I'm sure they will still add tons to it over time.
I mean, if you look at Dota and the way that they've managed Dota, and just like aside from just game patches and that sort of stuff, like the features and client side stuff over the years, like, you would assume
they're still adding stuff. Like Dota Plus is a new feature that they've added with it.
But Dota A is free, B gets you everything gameplay relevant out of the box. Yeah. So this is kind of a different beast.
Yeah, asking people to jump in at $20, which I could see that being a harder ask compared to free with updates.
So it is fun. That's like it all comes back to that. I do have a good time with the game. I'm gonna play it more here and there. It's just a bit of a time commitment right now. And then once that marketplace opens up, I think that'll be the thing. Once we start seeing what those cards are gonna actually cost, like what it's going to actually cost to build a quote competitive deck, that's when I think it's gonna make or break itself.
I have to assume they're going to work on a mobile version at some point, because I don't want to sit in front of a computer for 45 minutes to play a game like that.
Yeah. But I don't think where I would be, other than I guess a couch. I mean, I'm not going to play on my commute.
I mean, if it works on the phone, I would totally play it on the bus.
Yeah, it just seems like it's.
But then again, if you can't pause and resume games,
you can't tab out at all. Also, it's timed. There is a timer on the game. You will just straight up lose if you take too long.
Also, would they be able to do a mobile version with Steam Marketplace integration? That could get real sticky.
That would be the tricky. I mean, because that's why that Steam
that's why the app
is not on iOS.
Right.
Is because of that stuff. I mean, they could. They would just have to cut Apple in on the money.
You'd need some way to connect your Steam inventory to your
artifact. I mean, whatever
iOS account or Apple account, right?
Not necessarily.
On Android, it's open enough that I'm sure they could figure it out. But with Apple could make that hard.
It could be a situation where Apple just takes a cut of all booster pack sales on that platform, and then maybe they don't allow marketplace stuff to exist on the mobile client. Maybe you got to go install Steam to do that.
Maybe they keep it PC only. I don't
know. Who knows?
Who can say? I'll check it out at some point, but there is kind of a lot.
Yeah, it's
a lot.
It's not really my thing.
Yeah,
but interesting. Either way.
All right, Jeff.
Okay.
You've got until I get back from the bathroom to talk about Battlefield.
Great. Okay.
Y'all talk about Battlefield.
I don't think I'll need that long, honestly. But Battlefield is actually out today.
Oh,
weirdly
congratulations.
Enough. Yeah, congratulations to Battlefield. It was a case where if you got the expensive edition, you could have been playing it for a while. If you were on EA's higher tier subscription service thing, you could be playing it for a while. And so I want to start playing it today again and see if anything has changed with regards to how long it takes to get into a match and stuff like that, because that seems long. Mm-hmm. It's been 2.5 minutes just to jump into a match, which seems for a shooter, for a popular shooter, seems really wild.
Right.
And I talked about it last week. I think that game is still weirdly rough around the edges, and the more I play of it, I'm just not I like the core of the movement, and I think the way they've built the classes this time out makes sense. But I don't know. It's I think some of the modes are a little weird in terms of you're pushing into a control point, and then if you lose the point, you got to go back and recapture the one before it in the sequence. But your squad, you can spawn on your squad. They might still be up at the control point that's no longer active because it's already been captured. You all need to fall back, but that's a hassle. You die, you respawn on the other end of it. And so there's a lot of cases where you're either sandwiching the other team or getting sandwiched. And it's just the flow of battle in this front lines, I think is the name of this mode. The flow of battle seems odd at times. And I feel like it's matching me onto the same maps over and over again. Game seems like it has more maps than it's shown me, but boy, I keep playing the one from the beta a whole lot every time I try to jump in, and that's frustrating. And it's still weird stuff. It's hard. It's I hit this. I'm playing on the Xbox One, and I'm trying to quit a match, and it just won't. It'll just sit there and say quitting for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, the next match is loading in the background behind behind a blur filter. You just see the loading screen behind the quit screen,
and you're getting shot up because that game is technically
the game is getting underway or something. I don't know. I've always just force quit the app at that point on the Xbox just to I'm done. Stop.
Do they have some sort of battle royale
They are going to add something after launch.
Okay.
Right now, it's pretty straightforward Battlefield. It's got team deathmatch and some modes like that, but it really is just hey, you're a lot of this control points, a lot of like that style of stuff. They've come up with some different twists on it, like if you push an enemy all the way back, then there's a 3 control point thing there that has to be defended by the losing team, and you have to kind of fight them off there, and some interesting ideas, some interesting ways to kind of mix up and kind of combine some of the different modes into these kind of grander operations, if you will. And I think that stuff around the edges of it is pretty good, but I think the core of it is maybe just a little plain. I think the level progression and stuff like that is maybe a little dull. And they do this thing, they've done it like this for a while in slightly different ways, but so like you can do all the cosmetic you can set uniforms and stuff for all 4 classes on both sides. So you decorate 4 Allied soldiers and decorate 4 Nazis, and even though they're in the same classes and have the same weapons available to them, there will be times when you change out a weapon on, like, say, the assault class on the Allied side, and it doesn't make the change on the Axis side.
Oh, weird.
As if you're trying to, like, role play, like, well, the Nazi would use this, and it just seems, since you join a match, when you join a match, you don't know which side you're going to get.
Right.
So that just seems like a dumb thing to, like, account for. Like, it just seems like I should be able to set what my classes are, and then that's it.
Just lock them in once.
Yeah. If and the choices should be cosmetic. Like, when I'm gonna assault on this side, I want to be a lady, and when I'm on this side, I want to be this dude. And make those sorts of changes. But to have it be like, oh well, shit, I totally equipped that rifle grenade, but boy, I forgot to do it on the other side, and I guess I don't have that. Like, that stuff's pretty frustrating. So I don't know. It's pretty, but maybe a little bland and a little rough around the edges in ways that I found kind of surprising. But there you go. Brad's back. So
you did it.
That's Battlefield.
All right. Great.
And also, I finished the Tetris journey, and it's very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good credits.
Man.
So we had someone write in and explain. I'd forgotten about that bag concept of just like how piece distribution
that's
is
kind of
done.
that's what I was getting at last week. I thought I had a feeling
I had completely forgotten
worked.
about that. So someone wrote in and said, "Hey, motherfuckers, this is how it works." I was like, "Oh right, yeah."
You get all 6 pieces, 7,
right?
Yeah. All 7 pieces
before you
in random assortments.
Yeah,
without repeating.
And then the bag is refilled with all 7 pieces.
So you might get the same piece back to back.
You might, but you will not get back to back to back.
A third one.
Yeah.
And playing the game with that in mind has made me better at Tetris.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Like,
is that, like, knowing that I need an L piece and kind of looking.
Right.
It's almost like counting cards in blackjack. Or
Yeah.
something. It's like I know that I've hit X, Y, and Z, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to get that L piece.
And if you ever get 2 back to back, you're like, okay, that was just the rotation, and now I know that all these other pieces are back in play, and you start to
hold just throws another bag of potatoes at that.
It just gets to be this weird thing where instead of now thinking like one piece ahead by looking at the next, you can start to halfway plan out 2 or 3 pieces ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at.
Welcome to Tetris.
It's cool.
It's pretty fucking wild.
Cool. I forgot to check out that Game Boy background again.
Oh,
for the second week in a row.
Oh no, I didn't do the weekend event.
Yeah, I was not
Journeys shit.
Yeah, I was not near a computer.
What's the deal if you contribute at all? You get the avatar for that week.
I think so.
Is that how it works?
Fuck.
I wonder if I have to assume they'll rotate avatars like that.
I would assume
same avatar will come back up at some point because there's only so many in the game.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I'm almost done with Expert Journey. It's fucking hard.
Yikes.
Is that 90 lines map? Or?
No, was it 48 for normal?
No, 36 for normal.
48 for Expert.
Okay. And they're a lot faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
It basically the first level gets up to I think 1 level slower than the last level of normal.
Ooh, did they get into the M speeds?
They haven't yet.
Interesting.
But I wouldn't be surprised if we hit like M1 at the end.
Sure. That's a good game.
It's a good game.
I did play a couple matches just to contribute Saturday morning, but I have not played as much as I would like to because the Game of the Year crush is upon us.
Hey man, Tetris is
frenzy. Yeah, but I mean, I've played through Journey. I've played most of the modes. I know what that game is.
Yeah.
All right.
No, what is Tetris? Really?
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
We'll find out in a couple weeks. All right. I'm going to try to do this in as spoiler-free a way as possible. Rate my chances. In the next, let's say, week and a half, I want to finish Red Dead, Spider-Man, and God of War.
What chapter are you on?
I'm pretty solidly into Chapter 4 in Red Dead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no.
Spider-Man, I'll try to be as vague as possible. This is nothing huge. The last thing I remember doing is the dinner date at MJ's apartment.
Ooh, that's a while.
Really? I feel like didn't I hear that just the story path through Spider-Man is actually pretty short?
Yeah, if you can mainline that
Yeah,
the rest of that game in probably 1 to 2 sessions.
Okay, because I think the reason I stopped playing that game was because I was trying to do everything, and a lot of those side activities really get repetitive.
Yeah, they do.
The best thing about Spider-Man is its story and single player.
Yeah, so I feel okay about that one. God of War. Trying to think how to describe. I just got to the point where it seems like you fully get the ability to move between worlds.
Yeah.
And I ended up in a very, very strange place with bird people.
Oh, dude.
That's probably not super deep.
Yeah, that's like maybe a fifth.
That's maybe a quarter.
Yeah.
Because that's even pre-friend.
No. Is that pre-friend?
Right?
That is pre-friend.
Yeah.
Because then you... Okay.
Huh.
Have you climbed a mountain?
I mean, I'm climbing the mountain.
Okay.
I don't know. That seems to be the goal.
Okay. You're still climbing the mountain.
Yeah. Did you finish it?
No.
Or you didn't get very far.
I got further than you, but
Did you?
yes.
I don't think you got to the part
sure?
Jan and I are talking about either.
No, but I'm pretty sure I
But
know what you're talking about.
There's multiple things like I just described that you could be thinking of.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think
don't
from
know.
remembering what Jeff did, he made it a little further than you. Like I think you completed that area.
I mean, that was months ago that I got there and had to put it down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and finish all the end game stuff in that game. That game's good.
Yeah, knowing that you can just sort of roam around, do whatever at the end of that game, kind of makes me want to just go through the story of that too.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Honestly, I didn't do a lot of side stuff in that game when we were supposed to.
Part of the problem, in addition to things getting in the way of playing it. I was doing every side thing I could find as I went.
Okay, so your chances of finishing all those by next Monday?
No. I mean, like,
Also, how much Celeste have you played?
some.
Okay.
Oh, dude, you should finish less.
You can't finish everything.
I would prioritize Celeste ahead of most of those other games, personally.
I really like Celeste.
That's fine.
I would put it in front of a few of those other games.
That's fine.
It's also a good pizza.
Less good pizza than a game,
What
but
is the
yeah.
pizza?
When you're desperate and need
Celeste.
What is the pizza?
The best a man can
Best
get.
man can get.
Wait, what?
It's a microwavable single sweet
Oh, it's like a Totino's kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see.
yeah.
It's like a classier Totino.
That's right.
Aha. Okay.
It's not quite for Shedda,
Totino's
but
like street pizza. Like you found it and you're like, well, it wasn't quite all the way in the gutter.
I see.
So wait, when do you want to finish them by?
Well, it's
nebulous.
fuzzy because
but
I mean, the game of the year process is like a 2-week affair.
I
Actually,
think-
it was actually like 3 weeks before the end of the
I
whole
think you
thing.
could finish if you're not doing a. You're not traveling for Thanksgiving.
No.
right?
Like
Yeah.
I have been handcuffed to my PS4 for the last 6 days and will be at least through the beginning.
I think you can
middle
do
of next
it
week.
if you don't get too trapped up in side quests,
Yeah.
especially in Red Dead.
Yeah, that's proving to be difficult. There's so much to do in that game.
I had a side quest straight up. We don't have time to talk a lot about Red Dead, but I just had a straight up sequence break happen where it was the second stage of a side quest. The French guy in.
Oh yes, I just did the 3rd or 4th step.
So
of
the
that
second
guy.
one where he's like banging on a.
Yes.
I walked up, started that mission. The game hitched for a half second, and then it was in the end cutscene of that mission where he was just like, "Whoa, thanks for getting me out of that jam. Anyways, I'll see you later. Bye," and just walked away. Like it fucking just broke and skipped the whole side mission.
I don't remember it.
Consider that like a merciful.
Oh come on. I don't remember it playing out that way. I thought that one ended with him banging on the door and a woman letting him in, and then that's it. I can't remember.
I got a quest marker. I walked up and I got a cutscene, and I'm like, "What are these guys talking about? I didn't do any of this."
Is it the one with the art gallery?
No, that's the one after it.
Okay, I don't remember how all that works or plays
But
out.
man,
Anyway,
that game has some bugs.
yeah, I don't know. I haven't run into that much. I did one where the character models disappeared from a cutscene, so there were like wine glasses floating in midair.
Yeah, had that one.
Oh, did you get that one?
Yeah.
That must be common. I just restarted the mission.
I had that one on
fine.
wagons mostly, but
and that was fine. But yeah, I'm so deep in that city now, and there's so much going on in that place.
Dense
Like, I
shit.
cannot
It's
believe
really cool.
how much is going on in that city. Like,
Did you find the secret poker game?
Somebody told me about it, but I don't think they marked it on the map. You have to you're talking about the one they say you should rob if you get a chance?
Or this one was, I was just like, hey, if you like cards, I know a place.
But is it to rob or to play?
I don't know. Because
potentially both?
I went there and he's like, what's the password?
Oh, and they don't let you in?
And yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, like some guy told me, like, hey, there's a high-stakes poker game. If you're looking for a score, you should look into that, but I haven't found it exactly. That environment is insane. Like, I cannot believe...
It's really incredible.
I cannot believe what that city looks like and acts like and just, how dense it is.
And how easy it is to be a criminal if you just bump into somebody the wrong way.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have that problem, but...
My Arthur Morgan's a little more surly.
Plays it a little loose. Yeah. God, yeah, there's a lot to do. It's tough to keep going.
Speaking of tough to keep going,
Yes.
you know who's not going to E3 anymore?
Oh, wow.
Everyone.
All right. I guess we're doing news now.
Are we not?
No, that's fine. We should move on. Yeah. Sony's not going to E3.
I mean, they were barely there last year, so sure.
Yeah. Well, they still had a booth.
Yeah, but
They're
like,
still on the show
remember,
floor.
like half of that booth was empty because they left room
Oh,
for
right.
people to stand.
That's right. Yes.
Like considering the Sony booths of yore,
Sure.
like the previous year, that was an area that was full of a lot of third-party games and a lot of other stuff that was just suddenly vacant, as if they were like, well, we need room for people to stand now that it's open to the public, so I guess we have to take all these games out of the booth, or I don't know if that was the decision or what the deal was, but
Well, they were thinking, we got to make the people attending our stage show walk around from theater to theater. They're going to get a little tired. Let's put a place where we can kind of have them
they can
chill
sit
out.
on the floor.
Yeah.
They do have that thick high pile carpet.
It's very nice.
Very
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are not going to be there in any capacity.
So is this-
no press conference, no booth, no nothing.
So they have said no press conference.
Yes.
Like, what is the actual? Is this just the ESA? Is this Sony? Like what's the state of this? Because I know it was kind of news stories started popping up based
Yeah, it
on
was
like
out, then
ESA
it pulled,
filings.
Well,
Then it was out again.
Variety broke the story and then pulled their story, and I don't know why or if they ever said why, but Kotaku confirmed it within minutes. I mean, the ESA confirmed it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's legit.
So the ESA confirmed it.
Yes.
Sony did not confirm it.
No, they both did.
Okay. So Sony.
This is official. This is
Okay.
super official. This is
So I guess my question is Sony going to do a separate event outside of outside of E3 the way EA does?
no.
Okay.
Like
They closed the door on that
as
because that's like the thing I
well,
was left
their
wondering
language is we have decided not to participate in E3 in 2019.
about. Okay.
We are exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019 and can't wait to share our plans with you.
It's all going to be in Playroom.
So if they were going to do
Yeah.
something at E3 outside of E3, I feel like they would have said that.
We will still have a presence at E3.
Like when they say
or even just like, hey, we'll have more to say. They but
when they say engage with our community in 2019,
right.
like
Yeah.
that very much sounds like they will do something at a different time of year.
they'll have their, what is it called?
PSX,
PSX.
is the kind of obvious go-to, although obviously
They
they
didn't do one.
are not doing one this year.
And maybe just the time of year doesn't work. Yeah, it's
So Microsoft said they're still going to be there.
they were more than happy to get out there and be like, we look forward to seeing you at E3 2019, motherfucker.
Has Nintendo said anything?
No, but I mean, Nintendo's kind of had their routine for a while.
Sure,
which
but
is that
I'm
they don't do a press conference, but they do have a booth.
This is when you start looking at those other big players, right? Who's going to be the next one, and how quickly is it going
Right.
to happen? And what
Well,
does
I
that
mean,
mean
it's
for
been
E3?
happening for a while. EA's gone. Activision kind of came back.
Activision's there.
I mean,
yeah.
EA is gone, but they still had a conference.
But they're across town.
But that's a separate
They're-
thing
yeah.
that's not part of.
They're not part of E3. They're just piggybacking
It's not
on.
part of E3, but like it's at the same time, at the same place.
Yeah. I mean, they're taking advantage of like E3 existing without, coming in and paying.
But it's still meaningful because not too many more of these publishers pull out like this, and E3 doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Like you can't justify a show
Back
floor.
when Activision pulled out, they did what EA is doing more or less. They would have a separate press conference and then you would have to go to some hotel suite or something to see their games. they were still showing things around E3. Like Bethesda had some time there where they weren't on the show floor either, right?
They've always had their footprint, but I think there was a year or two where the booth was basically closed to everyone except appointments, I believe. Is how it was?
Because I feel like there was that time, like it was before the airplane hangar years when people started maybe kind of getting a little tired of it. That you started seeing like, well, what was it? Activision just left the ESA at one point.
Yes,
is what it was.
I believe,
and that was the year they did like the Jamie Kennedy press conference, some of that other shit
at like a high school.
Yeah, is when they were separate from E3, but they were still showing things around E3.
Right.
So I guess like that was my thing. Is just like, you know, if Sony's out there saying we will have ways to show our community things in 2019, we will not be a part of E3. They could have an event that week and still technically that would all be true. I think that would be a weird way to go with that statement, but also they might not be ready to announce proper plans.
I feel like if they were going to do that, they would know it by now. I mean, they would have to. Like they would be well into preparations for that.
The message would probably be more something like, we'll have more to say, blah, 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 you know, or something like that.
Yeah, the nature, I mean, the language in this very much reads to me like some other time next year they will do their own thing.
Yeah.
Whether it's Paris Games Week or a new PSX.
And you wonder, like, will they do something earlier in the year or later? Like, when will they have the most to say? If you think about them not doing PSX this year, which would be like a December thing.
Yeah.
Because of the stated reason of like, we don't really have a lot of new stuff to show. We're busy getting these games done. And then E3 being out there, it would be weird to do an event between those two things because you could probably just save it for E3 at that point. So presumably if they were going to do something big, it would be later. And so what does that, does that mean, they said community, which means not Paris Games Week because it's not a community-driven event. I feel like maybe they go big on a PSX type thing later next year, Q3, Q4, somewhere around there.
Or they could have no event next year and just do like, step it up on the blog and do stuff like that.
Sure. I mean, you got Tim Turry over there.
Oh, is that where he went?
Game changer.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's extra interesting, right? Because everyone was saying this is maybe the first time we start getting a whiff of new consoles.
So there are two parts to this story. A, the decreasing relevance of E3.
Yeah.
B, the fact that PS5 might be closer than we thought.
Right. But also not ready to be announced either prior to or during E3.
Yeah, and I don't think you announce a console at E3 anymore. Like they didn't do that last time,
right?
And it worked very well for them.
So if they've, man, I don't know. You start trying to work all this stuff backwards and think in terms of like, okay, do they have an inkling of what Microsoft is planning? And they're like, oh shit, we need to get out in front of it. And the only way to do that is to like totally uproot our entire cycle of planned events and dump everything into like, what is this PlayStation 5 announcement going to be?
I mean, do they have to really beat Microsoft to the punch in that respect? Don't they command
going first?
That worked very poorly for them last time.
Yeah, and it went very poor. Like Microsoft didn't go great for them this time out either.
Well, they launched at the same time.
Yeah, it was pretty close, but
like days apart.
But by this time, are you talking
information?
About Pro?
Whatever. Yeah.
They announced. I think it was like February for PS4 and like May for Xbox One, I think it was.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe not that big of a
gap.
But
like 360 coming out a year before the PS3 is probably the reason that 360 took off the way it did.
When you think about the popularity of the PlayStation 2 and how fucking huge the PlayStation brand was at that time, it took Microsoft getting out early, nailing all the sports shit out of the gate to attract that type of consumer that would have been big on EA's shit on the PS2. And
having like what's let's be honest, a pretty revolutionary online service at launch.
Yeah,
like Xbox Live was
right.
Nobody had anything like that when they launched the 360.
And then Sony's PS3 launch by comparison felt late and a little weird.
Well, and
the
it was
console
$600.
was a little strange. It was very expensive.
$600 in 2006 money. It was weird to develop for. There was a lot of arrogance around it.
Yeah.
Like it was very much like, hey, we're PlayStation. People will wait for us.
Exactly.
Turns out they
didn't. And so I would, if I were at Microsoft, and if you look at what Microsoft has been doing in terms of, or not doing, they've been acquiring studios and not announcing games with it and all that sort of stuff, you start to look at and go like, oh, is this just, are they in a maintenance mode with the current generation, trying to do the best they can so that when they get ready to announce another box, people are excited for it again, and you look at all the stuff they've been doing, like Goodwill, building up Game Pass, trying to right the wrongs that they faced at the start of the generation, like their messaging has gotten a lot better. Their community stuff's gotten a lot better. They seem like they're listening a lot more. That all feels like stuff that gets them in position next time around. But like the final piece of that puzzle for them is probably announce first, launch first, because that's what worked for them last time. So if you're Sony, do you then go like, or if you're Sony, are you back in that position of like, they'll wait for PlayStation, which is very easy to see them settling into that role again this time with some of the stuff they've done over the last year or two. Or are they like, okay, no, we're not going to let them, we are going to fucking make some moves here, make some big changes, and start to ramp up on, whatever announcement for, because if they can get the announcement out, and then Microsoft announces later, even if Microsoft launches first, the announcement of the PlayStation 4 or 5 has the potential to do what the PS2 did to the Dreamcast in a weird way.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that's how you convince people to wait, is you show them a bunch of shit
right
ahead of, or around the time of the other thing coming out.
So to cut to the chase here in the story that Jason Schreier ran on Kotaku, where he got the confirmation from the ESA about this and comment from Sony. He ends the story with this. It's yet another hint at the timing of Sony's next PlayStation. Based on conversations with developers across the industry, I expect the PlayStation 5 to be released in 2020. And the publisher skipping E3 2019 certainly points to that.
Yeah.
I've been putting a lot of stock in what the Sony president said a while back about it was pretty vague language, but about a business plan continuing through fiscal 2021.
Right.
Which kind of sounded like the PS5 would launch that fall, but he's moving that timetable up a year with this.
I think 2020 makes sense.
Yeah, it was 7 years from the PS3 to the PS4, so
right.
this would be another 7 years from the 4 to the 5 if they want to stay on that schedule.
Yeah. I think 2020 for all this stuff to start hitting makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and
that's a good. That's 4 years after the Pro came out, so that's even a good long time since their last big hardware launch.
I feel like the handful of people I talked to that were, like, hey, where are you at in regards to disclosure, or if anyone rolled up on you with information about this, or asked you about this or this or this, it's very early in the process.
Yeah.
Or last time I checked, which was not relatively recently, but it was early in a way that you're like, 2020 maybe at the earliest.
Doesn't sound like anybody's been out there being briefed with specs or anything like that.
No.
I mean, there's all
maybe
this
now, but
crazy
like
shit,
I said,
crazy shit popping up all over on like Reddit, going like, "Oh, every developer has a PS5 dev kit now," and like, that's fucking come on. No, but this is sooner than I expected. Like,
unless you consider that a PlayStation 4 Pro dev kit might be not that far off from a PS5 dev kit, you just like, hey, the architecture is the same, but our specs are going to be here. Like if they do have that stuff nailed down, sure, you could have a studio working on PS5 games right now.
Maybe
if you can make those assumptions, or if you've been kind of read into the plan, like theoretically, you're working on PCs anyway. You're like, oh, well, now we're really targeting 4K, not checkerboard this, not Pro version that. We're going full hog, fucking massive. Let's go 4K. Also, our games should have the ability to be streamed. Like that seems like the stuff for the next generation is to think about, is like, okay, more powerful shit, but also streaming.
Yeah, maybe.
I think there's still the VR push.
I don't know.
I've been thinking about it.
I
would expect that the PlayStation VR would work forward. And that maybe they would issue a second headset that would have a higher resolution. And
that would be nice.
It needs better tracking. Like they can't fucking marry themselves to the Move and
you're right.
shitty optical tracking anymore.
Yeah, maybe a big overhaul would work better, but also maybe there's a way for them to support both standards. If you think about it on PC,
maybe
like the stuff on Steam VR works with Windows Mixed Reality inside out tracking. It works with the Vive stuff. It works with like. It would not be unheard of. It would be weird on a console, maybe, but maybe they say, hey, VR games need to support both standards, and maybe eventually they phase one of them out.
I'm honestly pretty surprised that between Tetris and Astrobot, I'm looking to maybe pick up a VR on Black Friday. Like
they've made it makes sense.
Yeah. They're finally getting that software that like either
games. Totally. They got it done with games. And that's the stuff that I think that, well, Oculus seems like they're in such a crazy place right now with, like, is Oculus going to go out and invest in PC-based VR when their next device doesn't use a PC? Like, probably not. So where does that leave software for people on PC? It leaves it with Vive, and then how's that stuff doing? It's like, it's fine. It feels like PC-based VR. I feel like the release of software has like just kind of tapered off in a way. And at the same time, that stuff was getting less interesting. Yeah. Sony was like, oh, well, we've got all this stuff, that whether they've locked up temporarily through exclusives or stuff that they're publishing themselves. Like, there's games out there you can look at and go, you should really play Astro Bot. You should really fucking play Tetris. Yeah. And Moss is on PC now. Yeah. And presumably I would think Tetris would come to PC eventually. They haven't said, but I mean, come on.
That's what happened with Rez.
Right. Yeah. But right now, yeah, absolutely. Especially at that price with the number of PS4s that are out there. Like I've had a lot of tracking problems with the PS4 VR stuff, but
they just pushed
$200.
They just pushed a Tetris patch that now centers the rotation of the world, which is exactly that problem I was having.
Yeah.
Like by the end of one segment of Journey, my game world had rotated like 90 degrees.
That's weird because I have all kinds of tracking problems with a lot of games, but Tetris was never an issue.
That's a common one. I've read forums where a bunch of people had that problem, and obviously they addressed it with a fix. So but also I dragged my coffee table out of the way and moved like 4 feet closer, and that problem totally cleared up. So that thing is just very temperamental.
Yeah.
I am real skittish about forward compatibility with stuff on a new generation of consoles.
Yeah.
Because of how it limits what you can do.
Sure.
Like having to support that headset, having to support that old CPU, that slow-ass netbook CPU in the PS4.
Right.
Like games that run on both. In a forward compatible
way.
way.
I'm not really seeing it as like games that run on both. Like that's a maybe, and maybe even that's like a temporary kind of overlap deal.
Yeah.
I'm more just saying like it would be nice if the headset worked on a new PlayStation.
Yeah, I could see it.
For new VR games, because like that's another additional investment that people have to make. I think there's room for that thing to be way better. And if you've got the horsepower to back it up, to drive the headset, to have better resolution in the headset, like it needs it.
Yeah.
That stuff looks bad. But
yeah, PSVR is weird because it's like by the numbers, the worst headset on the market, but it has the best games.
Right. It's frustrating in
so
that way.
So I want to get one.
Yeah.
But
and so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that, because like if you go by what they've said, they've said that they've been happy with how PSVR has been selling. So you would think like, oh well, maybe that will lead to them doing more in VR next generation. But also it seems like VR on PC is in a weird spot, and that stuff feels more nebulous and strange in a way that I don't feel like it's guaranteed that we get a Vive successor anytime soon, because I'm not sure, like aside from the Vive Pro, like I'm not sure what you do there.
Yeah. And like Oculus just shit canned their plans for a new Rift.
Right.
From the sound of it.
So, if that space is weird, then, like Sony's got a pretty good slate of software, but is all that enough for them to continue to invest in it and want to re-up and want people to buy another headset?
Yeah,
I mean all that sort of stuff. Like it's a lot easier for them to justify if they're like, oh, we come in with X number of headsets already sold. As long as they buy the new console, we'll still be able to sell them VR games.
If there's a way for them to make all that work without technical compromises, that's great.
Right.
But
yeah. If they get hamstrung to it, that would be a bummer.
Anything that hamstrings what you can do on the new platform just diminishes the whole point of having a new platform. Like, why did you even make a new console?
Right.
If people could just keep using the old one. So there has to be a clean break at some point. Everything should be backwards compatible.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Like I'm fully on board with that.
But then, then you run into the issue of like, okay, well, does that include VR games? Like if they sell a new VR headset, does it all work? Do all those old games work there? Because then if they did fix the tracking and make different tracking, is it compatible with, can they have a compatibility layer that makes that headset seamlessly work with those old games without developers having to go back and change them?
Yeah, I think that could be.
And I'm saying if you're doing that work, then you might as well make the headset the old headset work on PlayStation 5 because that work presumably could go both ways.
Right. Again, unless you have capabilities in the new headset that you want to design new games around.
Sure. I think in terms of capabilities and stuff like that, like that's accessories. Like that's and we're still too early in it to get into the idea of just like, oh, here's a treadmill you run on or something like that. But, are there other things they could do with like, okay, we've got a different type of controller, we've got a foot controller, we've got a something that's like, because it feels like the stuff that Sony has done best in VR is like that focus on seated controller-based VR.
Yeah.
It's not the most immersive stuff in the world, but
like if and when I get a headset, I'm going to get the one without moves because I don't really care about any of the move games.
Right.
Like
it's great. I don't have to like move shit around my house too much. I just kind of center myself and I'm good.
Yeah.
Like Astrobot, Tetris, like the persistence is pretty good. Like those are all DualShock games. Like those are the best games that are out for that thing.
I want to play Beat Saber, but I don't want
I guess that is a move. Yeah.
That's. I mean, I've not been a big Beat Saber fan, but the idea of playing Beat Saber on a completely closed platform seems insane to me.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think the music that comes with that game is very good, or it's not good enough to where I would want to replay it a ton.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I want to just check it out.
Like it's a good game that I think needs it needs the same thing that soundboxing has, where you can just punch in a YouTube video and if people made a highway to it, it just comes in and plays in game and all very seamlessly and all that sort of stuff. Like the Beat Saver stuff, the website full of custom songs and stuff, like even that, it should be more seamless than that.
Yeah.
So VR stuff aside, if Schreier is right about this thing launching in 2020, like that totally lines up with what is happening here to me, because think about what a 2019 Sony E3 would be.
Right.
If they have a PS5 coming out 18 months later.
Yeah.
It's Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2 again.
Will Days Gone be out by then?
Days Gone is out in like February.
Okay.
But any internal teams that don't have an announced project at this point would be prepping to ramp up on a PS5 project.
Fantasy 7.
There you go.
Like, well, maybe, but
PlayStation 5, Final Fantasy 7.
Point being, they couldn't have really many more projects to announce for PS4 because all their teams are going to be ramping up on a new console.
Yeah,
which will not be announced at that time.
But then also, you're right. It would be a lot of repeat games. I would say, like, if you look at their E3 conference last year and how short and focused it was, like, you could have something that short and that focused, but it would be reshowing.
Yeah, if it's the same games again, they can't. They can't
but
do that again.
Maybe you do that. Maybe you re-show those games again, and then at the end of the press conference, boom, Knack, looking at higher res than you've ever seen him.
Knack 3D.
And then another Knack jumps down, and you're like, 2 Knacks, that's fucked up. And then a third Knack drops down.
Whoa.
His name is Snack.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then the 2 Knacks eat Snack and get big.
Damn.
Knack 3.
Yeah.
It's snack time.
It is.
Knack attack.
It's snack time. It's snack time. I think that's
the Knack pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're paying lip service to engaging with their community in 2019, so who knows what they'll do, but I can't see them announcing a PS5 outside of the same year that it ships in, because that's what they did last time, and that worked very well.
I think some of that gets dictated by
maybe what Microsoft,
what competitive, the competitive conditions are.
If it turns into an arms race again, then sure. But also, you don't want to kneecap your like holiday lineup, right?
Totally.
Like you want people to buy Last of Us 2. You want to sell Ghost of Tsushima.
Well, like those games. Well,
I mean, they're going to sell regardless.
Last of Us 2 will sell. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's not a problem.
Just from a marketing perspective, you don't want to go out and muddy your own message with a big platform announcement at the same time you're trying to sell big games.
Yeah. But if you look at it, like we're already seeing $200 PlayStation 4s right now.
Yeah.
That's that Spider-Man bundle.
Yeah.
That's
quite a
a base model PS4 with Spider-Man, $200. That's kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's a good deal for sure. There's a lot like I saw like Horizon Complete Edition is like $10 new.
Yeah,
right now, like it's nuts. You're definitely like reaping the spoils if you waited.
Right,
this gen, like you're getting into that territory where you can just get a bunch of great stuff for cheap. Yeah, things got interesting quickly with both E3 and a next PlayStation.
Yeah, and I don't know, this just again, it speaks to the changing nature of E3 and what its value is to the game industry. And
do you think this hits their attendance problem? Because I guarantee, or I bet that a certain faction of the attendees are going to be, console diehards, and if
one of
them there,
I think like local attendance probably isn't affected by this, because if you're in the LA area and you're a Sony fan and it's not there, you're still like, it's E3, I'll still go. Like there will still be PlayStation games at that show, just not shown by Sony.
Yeah, good point.
Shown by Sony.
Shoney's is going to be there?
There'll be a Shoney's there.
Oh,
Scott Steiner has a booth.
We get some of that
He's
popcorn shrimp.
He will have popcorn shrimp,
Oh, man.
and he's got a complex math equation devoted to how it's made. And yeah, so I don't know that it impacts that attendance all that much, but people like traveling, like people like far away, it maybe becomes harder, right?
Yeah. That's one of the 3 platform holders just not there anymore.
That's less interesting to see
a big hit
in person, but also it's E3 is a weird thing, and I get the idea of like maybe saying like, hey, we can probably do better than just hitching our wagon to this show that is kind of refiguring itself out, especially in a year that might be a down year for Sony. Like, are they going to be able to grab headlines? I could see why you would consider bowing out if you didn't have the stuff.
Yeah. So all that stuff was kind of explosive enough in business terms, and then this was either later the same day or the next day. How do you pronounce the name of the site? Is it just Thurrott.com?
Thoreau?
Well,
is the dude's last name, right?
Maybe. Well, I think Brad Sams is kind of the name I always see attached to this site.
Okay. I think it's Paul Thoreau, I think is the guy.
Is it pronounced that way, though? With 2 T's?
That's my guess.
I don't know. Anyway, they ran a story. I'm not super clear on the lineage of the site, but they get a lot of Microsoft leaks.
They're very focused.
Yes, they publish a lot.
They primarily are focused on like Windows, but I think Brad Sams is the guy that covers their gaming.
Yeah, they publish a lot of Microsoft news in general about more than just Xbox. But they ran a story headlined "Microsoft building a diskless Xbox One for release in 2019." And this story is like chock full of Xbox news. It's not just that.
Yeah.
But the story about that thing is pretty much what I just said. They're looking to ship an Xbox One without a disk drive next year for, they're saying, $199 or less.
Just an Xbox One, not a X.
Yeah, just a regular Xbox One S, presumably.
Like, how much is the S right now?
It's like $299. So that's $100 off. The other thing is, if you already have games, they are looking at a disc to digital program where you would take your discs to participating retailers and hand them in and get codes. So you could keep all your games.
That's cool.
$199 sounds kind of high to me for something like that.
Right. I mean, like we just got finished saying, hey, the PlayStation 4 is $199 for just a regular ass PS4. Yeah. It's got a disc drive in it.
That's a special. That's a Black Friday thing.
Yeah, but we're getting to that point where that is going to start to become the norm. So, like, by 2019, why wouldn't an Xbox One just be $199?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But those are kind of,
which makes me think, like, would that then be an X?
Oh no way.
Yeah.
I mean
this explicitly says it's not.
Okay.
This says it is just a regular Xbox One.
Maybe this is them kind of feeling out the waters of how a diskless console might go in the future.
Yeah.
Well,
it's probably the time to experiment.
So I expected this exact thing to coincide with the next Xbox, which, by the way, they are saying is codenamed Scarlet. Has that been out there?
It's been out there.
I guess that name has been out there. But like all the talk they're doing about streaming, like, and the fact that they like to have 2 SKUs out there, like you could totally see Xbox whatever. What are we calling it?
2.
Sure. Like I figured there would be an Xbox 2 and then like a cheap thing that will run their streaming service.
Totally.
And you can buy, let's say it, like I basically figured it would be the guts of an Xbox One S that can run those games locally.
Right.
And also stream the Scarlet games or whatever.
Yep.
So
I think that's a natural thing, or,
Right.
or even you could even go bare bones than that.
Yeah.
If you don't need that Xbox One S, like could you make it more cheaply if it didn't play any games locally?
Maybe.
And then you're just making a stream box for $50 or something.
I mean, there's probably economies of scale to think about. Just
Sure.
that you already have the manufacturing lines tooled up and you're making them anyway, so you can kind of repurpose that stuff. But point being, if this thing is launching next year and the next Xbox launches in 2020, which is what the story says,
right?
You probably just keep that thing in the product lineup, right?
Yeah.
And make that the thing that can stream the new streaming service.
I mean, the idea is to make everything that can run a stream be a part of the streaming service.
Right.
The idea is to be like, hey, your tablet is going to play these Xbox games.
I just mean if they launch this thing as an Xbox One next year, they don't necessarily retire this to put out basically the same thing branded as an Xbox 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
You just kind of keep this on the roster as the thing that can stream. But yeah, like there's so much stuff tucked into this story that it's a lot to unpack. That's pretty much the story about the discless Xbox.
Yeah.
$199, no drive.
This is confirmed?
No. This is all rumor, but they seem very confident about it. Turn your discs into digital. Like that's kind of the beginning and end of that thing. But there's also the news in here that they are also looking at launching a streamlined Xbox One S, like a full one with the disc drive next year also. They're not sure what that's going to look like. They are confident the disk drive will stay. They say that it may get cuts in other areas.
That second HDMI port finally coming out.
Maybe so. Yeah, sure. I could see it.
Like I'm trying to think what that cut is.
He's referring to it in this story as an Xbox One S Slim. Is kind of how you would think of it. So probably like a smaller thing.
Right.
Which seems like kind of a lot to pour on if you're also putting out this discless thing.
Yeah, that's where it gets muddled because like how much do you expect to sell that thing for?
Right.
Because again, if Sony's out there with just a full fat baseline PS4 for $199 with a game.
Well, again, that's just for
it is, but they're able to do that with a game. Well, one of their big games for a special sale right now.
But that's for a week.
A year later,
maybe.
Why wouldn't they be able to say, "Hey, here's one with no game, and it can definitely be $199 because fuck it."
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's
they've been pretty slow on price cuts this generation, I feel like.
Yeah.
But if they get into an arms race, then yeah, sure. They start making big moves.
And Microsoft is, probably in a position where they can experiment and make big moves because, they're at the end of this generation that they did not do all that well in.
Yeah.
They've clearly shifted a lot of focus over to whatever's next.
Yeah.
And yeah. How much longer do Forza games show up on this current generation? Motorsport's probably next year. Does Horizon 5 run on an Xbox One, or is that?
I have an email about Forza. Let's just read that now.
All right.
From Nick in Australia, because it totally addresses what you're talking about, and it's kind of interesting in light of all this news. Nick in Australia, I'm big into the Forza games, and as such, I keep up with the developers' forum postings and their Mixer streams. In Turn 10's streams, they both subtly hint at and even at times come out and say that they are not working on Forza Motorsport 8 because they are still all hands on deck fixing the dumpster fire that is Forza Motorsport 7.
Yikes.
Assuming this is true and they are not trying to mislead the audience, how late could a team like Turn 10 start production on Forza Motorsport 8 and still hit the late September, early October 2019 timeframe that the next Forza game would be expected to launch in and not have it be another dumpster fire? Personally, I'm thinking this might be the first year since 2011 there has not been a Forza game released.
It's possible, and that would fit into, like, if they're shifting teams over to early work on
So if it's a transition, if 2019 is the last full year of these consoles.
Like, I'm sure part of it is fixing up 7, but, if part of it is planning.
New tech, getting up to speed on a new platform, making big plans.
And Turn 10 is the team to, like, probably lead the way in a lot of development for a next platform.
You fucking launch a brand new Xbox generation with a new Forza game.
With the roundest fucking tires you've ever seen.
Nicest looking photogrammetry you can possibly
And now
imagine.
you can actually literally fuck the cars.
Oof.
Hell yeah. Partnership with Fleshlight.
Okay. What did they say about Halo Infinite in terms of release time frame? Like nothing, right?
I think that was as open-ended as it could possibly have been. From what I remember, let's go to their webpage for Halo Infinite. See if there's any information. Because it flat out says exclusively on Xbox One, Windows 10.
Okay.
So that is an Xbox One game, unless they just totally pull that and reverse course.
Well, here's the other thing. Like, we talk about Sony and forward compatibility and backward compatibility, all the other stuff, and I think it's easy to be like skeptical about what they will do and will they go all the way with it because Sony's been sometimes weird with that stuff. But if you look at Microsoft and what they've been doing over the last handful of years, it's been about de-emphasizing the Xbox as a box and more about emphasizing it as an ecosystem.
It's just a continuum of games.
And so
going back 15 plus years.
Yeah, like all the stuff that you've talked about, that we've talked about like, oh, well, eventually Game Pass will make sense on PC. And all this other stuff, like, Halo Infinite comes out on PC, so of course there will be a version that will look better that could run on a next Xbox.
Yeah.
And still maybe run on an Xbox One. Like, so maybe they're the ones that are like, okay, we're doing 3 SKUs, or, like, hey, we're doing multiple versions of this, 2 console versions for these 2 generations, and then also a PC version, and, your min spec is going to be Xbox One X, and your mid tier is going to be whatever the next Xbox is, and then PC is PC.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like I said, that just seems like the direction they've been moving in all along.
Yeah.
And you talk about them like, oh, we want to get better on the PC, and they go out and acquire all these studios, and they do all this and that. Like, it just seems like all those games come out everywhere for as long as it makes sense, and then the Xbox One version of the game gets phased out that lets them kind of...
For Halo in particular, you mean?
Or just games in particular. Like,
yeah,
but I could see Halo showing up on...
Cross-gen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cross-gen and PC.
Sure.
Like PC being like this kind of thing that gets them, hey, they're already doing the work for PC. They're already accounting for multiple specs and all this other stuff. It's not just about a console anymore. So
I think if they're going to go that route, they need to do it on a case-by-case basis and not just say, hey, we're going to make everything for both generations at this point.
I think it's like a thing with a cutoff. It's hey, like, while this makes sense, we're going to do this, but it's not like the Xbox One is the leader in the marketplace.
Right.
So the number of people that they need to cater to there is limited. So you finish out the generation as strong as you can, while also firmly shifting focus to new consoles.
Yeah.
And that would mean like, okay, well, Gears 5 is still coming out on Xbox One. Halo Infinite is still coming out on Xbox One.
Yeah, maybe it turns into the like PS2 to PS3,
right?
Xbox to 360 transition of, there's a version of Gun for both platforms.
Yeah. Right.
But you're buying them separately because...
But maybe you're not buying them separately anymore.
Maybe not, yeah.
Because if you take Play Anywhere and put another generation of console into the mix, maybe there is a 6-month or 18-month period where that overlap makes sense, and it's not every single game, but maybe it's the first party stuff.
They did some weird stuff like that with, like, remember how you could put a PS3 version of Assassin's Creed 4, I think it was, Black Flag, into, I believe you put it into a PS4 and you could buy the PS4 version for $10.
Oh,
remember that weird shit?
Yeah, there's a
I guess
little bit of that.
You could see some stuff. Yeah, like there's certainly precedent for stuff like that. Man.
And then you've got the streaming service that is like, okay, if you're not ready to go out and invest in new hardware to play these games, but maybe that's not ready at launch. Maybe it's hard to say. Like, do they have a streaming service ready to go, like wide, public, part of the service offering day one, 2020?
2 years from right now?
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Maybe? I feel like they've talked about it enough publicly that another 2 years from now, sure.
You'd think.
I could see it.
So then you get to a point where, like, okay, an Xbox One will be able to play all of these games. It's just a matter of whether it will play them locally or not.
Right. And that's where the discless thing comes in.
Yeah.
Like, they're just kind of a cheap streaming device that a controller can hook up to.
Mm-hmm. Our bizarre future.
Yeah.
It makes it really hard to talk about, like, next generation stuff because, like, everyone's kind of gone on record and said we think that local powerful hardware is meaneful, but they're all kind of clearly looking to reach beyond that.
Yeah, and especially
cluster of
companies like
people.
EA.
Right, yeah.
Yes, third parties would love to get away from having to pay platform holders.
But they would still have to, unless they're going to build their own services and try to attract their own subscribers, which...
Yes, it depends on, the size of the publisher.
EA is doing that.
EA is doing it.
But they don't have the lineup to do that.
Probably not, but they have the resources to give it a shot.
Yeah.
And if they get it working, they're the first in the door.
Whereas, like a THQ Nordic or maybe a Square Enix would probably just align themselves with like Sony and Microsoft services.
Yeah.
And put
and
their
maybe
games out
even
that
EA's.
way.
Like if EA attracts a subscriber base, then their future is probably partially...
I just saw like the Origin Black Friday sale just went up because they totally sell other people's games too.
Yeah.
Do you think that Microsoft continues and carries on the most powerful console narrative with the next one? Do they make sure that they continue to have? Because that's always like, and it's on the most powerful console. That is just like one of their biggest talking points.
If they're launching at the same time, I wonder if those boxes end up looking very, very similar.
Right.
Like even more than they did last time.
You know, there are always choices to be made around, you know, like things like, oh, how much RAM you can include, how much of this, how much of that. But like, I don't know, man. Like they took a beating and they took it personally when the power stuff started happening around the launch of the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like all that resolution chatter, and you know, it's why they go so hard on this is the most powerful console.
Totally.
You know, is because of what happened to them.
It's also one of the few things they have right now.
Yeah.
I still think tech is like the number 3 reason the PS4 did so well.
Sure.
I think number 1 is price. Like it was it was cheaper.
Yep.
Number 2 is the used game stuff, like the
messaging.
Yeah. All the kind of consumer choice around you don't have to be online all the time. You can buy used games, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Like I don't, the extra.
I think
the extra horsepower didn't hurt. But
the number one way the PS4 succeeded was by Microsoft fucking up the messaging so bad.
Yeah. And being less expensive at launch.
I mean, forget the messaging. Like they fucked up. They made actual
It's
bad decisions
not just messaging
early on.
It's stuff that they wheeled back.
And They made bad choices and then were terrible at explaining their bad choices. And it was like, oh man, I remember coming out of that event, the unveiling event for Xbox One, and everyone had done their different interviews with different execs, and it was just like whoever, depending on who you talked to, you got a different version of the answer. And like they were so not nailed down. Like we were on the bus leaving the event, like comparing notes a little bit. And it was like, yeah, they told me this. And like that like everyone was left that event more confused about the Xbox One than I think they did going in. It was
it was a mess. Luckily for them, a different time with different leadership.
Yeah,
they seem to at least have a vision at this point.
Yeah,
whether
and that vision includes video games.
Yeah,
which seems like wise, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, for sure. God, was that everything in this Brad Sam story? I think so. Discless Xbox One next year for 200-ish. An Xbox One S Slim also next year. The next actual Xbox in 2020. I think that's kind of that's everything in here.
I bet they don't ship both of those.
You think so?
The Xbox,
it does seem
Slim and a discless. Like that doesn't seem like. I don't know. I mean, if you're phasing out the S completely and you just want a couple of entry level, or you want an entry level Xbox, and then you want something that's like weird and different, maybe you do it. But
I really think the discless thing is mostly about measuring the reception, seeing how many people are interested in,
and maybe that's the thing
feature
that they can do in terms like, and that's the thing that gets given out like an Echo Dot.
Totally. Or I feel like the discless thing should be $99. It should be
right. $199 seems like way too high.
Yeah, I feel like
maybe we'll see continuous sales and stuff.
Sure. I feel like you treat it a little bit like a loss leader. You also say like, hey, we'll make up money by selling them everything digitally instead of buying used games.
If you commit to a year or 2 years of what's the thing, because they do the financing thing now.
Yeah.
Like if it's like, hey, if you commit to 2 years of Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold, we will give you this fucking thing.
Right. Or make it very cheap. Yeah. Because you just want to get it hooked up to their TV so they can then subscribe to the services that you want them
in the ecosystem.
Yeah, like ultimately all they want is for everybody to pay them monthly like they do Netflix,
right,
and not think about it.
Yeah.
And that seems like the best route to that. But man, a lot of weird stuff going on.
A lot to fucking wrap your mind around. It's like kind of fucking exciting.
Fucking new console news in the space of like 48 hours or less. Yeah, it reminds me.
Yeah, I mean, we had that Switch, and look, I kind of, hey, they're making a new Switch not too long ago, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess it remains to be seen how dramatic a change that is.
Yeah.
If that's more like manufacturing cost thing or if they actually change features on it. But it's starting to feel like that period back, was it like late 2012 when you started hearing the words Durango and Orbis a lot?
Right.
Flying around.
I loved hearing those words.
We got Scarlet.
Yeah.
What's Sony going to come with?
Scarlet's nowhere close to Durango.
Yeah, Durango is a real fucking good code name.
It's so Xenon.
Xenon's pretty good too.
It's no Katana.
Xenon sounds like a fucking high-tech sports car.
Yeah.
Durango just sounds like a ridiculous
an SUV.
It sounds like jeans.
It sounds like it sounds like a smoke belching gigantic pickup truck.
That sums it up. Yeah. Scorpio was good though.
Scorpio also pretty good. Scarlet, it's kind of
classic G.I. Joe.
It's kind of exciting stuff.
A good Mortal Kombat DLC character. No issues with Scarlet.
Are those consoles going to have ray tracing?
Yes.
No. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think.
Hey, fuck you.
Yeah. I'll fucking come across this table.
I think probably not, but we'll see.
Right. That feels like something that has to happen in the PC space, right? To start moving in that direction.
A, it just barely started. B, it was all.
Or they come up with their own term that's not quite It's not the same tech. It's like a dumbed down console version of it, and then they say this is it now. This is the thing.
I mean, that's all been driven by NVIDIA, and there's like next to no chance NVIDIA will be doing the guts of these things. So I'm going to say no.
Right. I feel if there was maybe more like developer uptake on the ray tracing stuff, which it seems like that's just very early.
Yeah. Super early.
I would like to see it though. I still have not seen it running locally. Like
if you haven't
videos and stuff like that, you see them, you're like, okay, but like I kind of want to play. Like, so I guess Battlefield has been updated to support it now. And it's like there's a part of me that kind of wants to get one of those cards and just look at it and go like, does this matter? Like, it doesn't seem like it does.
I mean, right now it's like sounds like such a limited implementation that it seems more gimmicky. But like when we get to the point where just everything uses it, period, like it's a huge.
That will be.
It's night and day.
Yeah,
and not just.
But is that even? Is that even these cards? Or these are just the cards that start us down the road.
Like that's the thing Rory keeps harping on about why he won't buy one is that like they can barely do 1080p 60 with heavy ray tracing stuff going on. So yeah, like it's barely ready for public consumption.
Weird.
All right. All that gigantic news out of the way. Let's just kind of whip through these others real fast. Nintendo has settled with those ROM sites that they sued for $12.2 million.
Seems like a lot of money.
But
not, maybe not.
Yeah, this story that I pulled from Polygon, and I've also seen other legal analysis elsewhere to the same effect, and I didn't know this was even possible.
Mm-hmm.
That may just be the public settlement that Nintendo and the defendants agreed to, and that the actual settlement may be a tiny fraction of that.
Right, but just to scare people.
Yeah, they basically have to send a public message of like, hey, we can and will come after you for amounts like this.
And I want to say, like, this got out by the virtue of like those sites updating to include that information on their homepage.
Really?
Like, we settled. They actually, part of that, we apologize.
They actually had to surrender those domains to Nintendo. But yeah, I saw.
We're gonna put Genesis ROMs up there.
Hell yeah!
That's right.
Nintendo is gonna be like, you want to download Flicky?
No,
too fucking bad.
I saw.
Click this link that says definitely a Pokemon game.
Oh, hell yeah.
Here you go. It's Flicky.
Whoa.
Flicky, the ultimate Pokemon.
Damn.
I've seen legal talk that the settlement actually could have been more like in the 5-figure range.
Yeah.
And not $12 million. But yeah, they had to turn over the sites, all files, like everything, in addition to whatever they ended up paying.
All my saves.
And that's kind of that. Skybound has announced that production has resumed on the final season of The Walking Dead. They describe the number of returning employees from Telltale who are back to work on it as, quote, many. Which
upwards of 3.
Which I'll point out is fewer than most. But I don't know.
But more than some.
I mean, they did mention, some former Telltale members had already taken new jobs elsewhere. We don't really know. But that is back in production as of now. Also, a bunch of Telltale games have started being delisted from Steam. Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, and Tales of Monkey Island all disappeared last week. Sounds like
I wonder if those were licensing deals.
I don't
know.
Walking Dead came down for a while, but Skybound apparently is working on getting all that stuff back up. But yeah, some of that other Telltale stuff gone already. And then finally, they are doing a 4K remaster of Command and Conquer. Like the first one.
Okay.
All right.
And Red Alert.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
Sounds like all in one package?
Okay.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Well, EA just said that, so it's Petroglyph, which was founded by some former Westwood people.
Okay.
who was doing the stuff. And
Petroglyph did was Grey Goo.
Yes, they did Grey. Let's see, where's their list of games? Grey Goo. They did that Star Wars Empire at War.
Yeah,
and then what must be their most recent game I had never even heard of, Guardians of Graxia.
Sounds like a video game to me, man.
Yeah. But yeah, there are multiple, like the founders are former Westwood people who worked on original Command and Conquer, so they've definitely been around.
So, do they up-res the existing footage of Command and Conquer and Red Alert, or are they reshooting it?
I have no idea.
I feel like that's the...
They can't reshoot it.
They can't reshoot it.
Yeah, they didn't say anything about the footage that I saw.
Did they do 4K CG versions of all those characters?
God.
And use the same VO? And then allow you to play the original FMV clips if you want?
Everything should be up-res except the FMV. That should be exactly the same.
Just a postage stamp in the middle of your 4K display.
They say they haven't even started development yet.
Are they doing 4K remasters of the installer for Command and Conquer? You know, the fucking shit that matters, man.
Of course. It remains to be seen.
It's going to take like 20 seconds to install it.
Oh, man. But that installer was so cool. They dished it. The CNC 95 didn't have it. That original version it was a full, like, almost in-world story-based installer. It's good. It's good
I think
shit.
we're due for RTS Renaissance.
I don't know, man. I feel like the last one kind of just came and went.
Did it even come? What was the last one?
StarCraft 2 was like the esport that mattered for a year or two.
I mean, like a new innovation in the RTS scene.
Oh, I don't
like
remasters of CNC are not the new innovation.
No. I don't think this is it. I think that we are due for like, hey, I figured out how to make RTSs cooler.
But wasn't that innovation to make Dota and go in that direction?
There's such different games.
But like, it is a distillation of RTS. I mean, literally.
I mean, it's more the evolution of Warcraft 3 though than like the StarCraft. Like,
yeah.
Imagine a StarCraft map with 100 bases.
StarCraft is economy and base building. Like that's the core of that genre, and that's not what MOBAs
Dota
are.
is economy and base destroyed. Completely different.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, MOBA. Everything about playing a MOBA is concentrated in the one character you're playing. You know,
it's extreme micro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like that stuff is, it's distilled from that genre.
Sure.
In a way that between that and between StarCraft 2, kind of not really leading to a genre renaissance. Like, I don't think you could say, hey, I want a renaissance of that genre. It has to be like, hey, here's a completely new flip on this genre that you barely even recognize unless like some of those brands, unless like StarCraft 3 is the first one. And then you go like, oh, like the same way that, you can kind of look at it now and go, oh, the Yakuza games are kind of like where beat 'em ups went. You kind of say that now, but you wouldn't have really said that then. Or when Yakuza was first coming out, it was maybe not as easy to see. Like, I just don't know. I don't know. Like, it seems like the people who want Command & Conquer want Command & Conquer, and remastering it is the right move.
Yeah.
But
especially after they announced that like phone game.
Yeah. And that's what you do if you're making a new Command & Conquer is you make your phone game. And because I don't know, I'm not a game designer. I'm not very smart, but I cannot imagine like make the next Command & Conquer, and it's not just a throwback to the days of Command & Conquer.
They keep trying that. And
like, make StarCraft 3.
Yeah. No.
What do you do?
Fourth faction.
No
like
idea.
StarCraft 2 was kind of like trying to make an RTS the way that RTSs were RTSs.
Yeah. StarCraft 2 was back to basics in a lot of ways.
But like,
Warcraft 3,
so you can't do that again with StarCraft 3.
Yeah.
So
got 12
what do
races.
you do?
Each race has 15 different trees you can skill up, and they all feed into each other.
I mean, Warcraft 3 was that attempt at doing something different with RTS, and it was very divisive. That's why they made StarCraft 2 as a throwback, because a lot of people did not want what they did.
And then Warcraft 3 ruined everything by leading to MOBAs. The MOBA nightmare we now live in.
Yeah.
And now they're remastering StarCraft 3. Who knows where remastering Warcraft 3? Who knows what hells that will unleash upon the world? There's your Diablo 4.
Yeah.
The nightmares that open up after that thing comes out.
It seems like these remasters are the future of RTS for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just seems like it just purely exists as a throwback kind of genre now. And
I mean, I think StarCraft 2 competitive does fairly well.
Yeah.
It's not It's not the international, but it seems to be sustaining itself.
People like it.
Yeah, I watched some in the last 2-3 months and was highly entertained. All right, that's it for news. Weird stuff this week. Things are going to get interesting soon. Are you guys good to roll in emails?
Let's do it.
Break?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's do a few minutes of emails before we get out of here. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. First email comes in from Alex in Charlotte,
Okay.
probably North Carolina, I'm guessing. So last week, after nearly completely forgetting about it, I received a check in the mail from the class action lawsuit against Sony regarding the removal of the ability to install a second OS on the PS3. The hard work I did to dig my PS3 out of a closet to get the serial number from it was finally rewarded with a staggering $10.07.
There you go.
It's actually pretty high.
What should I get for lunch using my windfall?
2 $5 footlongs.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say Quiznos is about the degree of sad sandwich that settlement deserves.
Give yourself a nice wet
I
sandwich.
thought they're phasing out $5 footlongs
I think they
entirely.
probably did, yeah.
They're still around.
Are they?
Still around right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think there was
Act
news
fast.
Yeah.
that they are.
Yeah. So go get that now.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just find yourself a soggy, mediocre hoagie.
Oh, yeah.
That's about...
Just get a meatball sub.
Get 40 nuggets.
You're not wrong that anytime you get a class action settlement, it's peanuts.
Yeah.
But when the deadline for this was coming up, a lot of the messaging around it was like, hey, you could be eligible for like $60 if you register for this. So
yeah.
my guess is so many people saw that they all registered and diluted the settlement.
The only class action lawsuit I was ever involved with was with Red Bull, and it was
It did
like,
not give you wings. Was it that one?
yeah, it didn't give me wings.
Yeah.
It was either take $3.14 or 2 free Red Bulls.
Which is worth more than $3.14.
Yep.
So
I said, hell yeah, I'll take 2 free
Yeah.
Red Bulls.
I've gotten a couple over the years. I'm trying to remember. Like, I think I got one for like RAM price fixing at
I
one
got
point.
like 19 cents from AT&T
Ooh.
at some point. I just don't cash those checks. I just like the
Yeah,
idea that
I
they just sit
frame
on
'em.
someone's books forever. Yeah.
I
frame 'em up.
registered for this PS3 thing just to see what would happen, and I
Yeah.
also have the $10.07 at home on my coffee table, and I was thinking about just like putting the check in a frame or something stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got one.
Picture of Richard Stallman.
I want to install Linux on my PS3. God damn it!
I got one from Uber for I think it was a class action lawsuit for drivers, and then I had signed up to be a driver. I never drove, but I was still a part of that class action lawsuit.
Nice.
Wow.
43 cents, baby.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
That's like 2 days of pay as an Uber driver.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I could buy like at least a can of soda here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost 2.
Almost.
Rohan in Northern Ireland. With the issues coming up surrounding the Spyro the Dragon remake not having subtitles and the new Pokemon game not having the ability to turn off motion controls,
Oh.
I wanted to ask, how should critics cover accessibility issues that do not have any effect on them? With the move to more personality-based game coverage, this sort of baseline fact might not come up, despite the fact that it can make or break a game for disabled gamers. Additionally, how much should it factor into a game's score? You take things like that into account, even if it does not have an impact on your own gameplay experience.
I think that stuff's definitely worth noting.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, this talk about like move to personality, but like there are plenty of personalities out there that, that may fall into some of these categories. There's been
Oh, you mean the
interesting stuff from deaf people around The Quiet Man.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
talking about, hey, we also think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
This is bad representation.
What I've gleaned from that. So yeah, I think that you kind of cover your experience with the game, and you can kind of note that stuff along the way for sure.
But yeah, there are organizations like Able Gamers out there doing a lot of more targeted work around stuff like that.
Yeah, the
which is
subtitle thing
cool.
is crazy.
Yeah,
like they're getting out there and saying like, oh, it's not an industry standard. We're evaluating the situation, but there's no standard around it.
Yeah,
which is like technically true that there's no industry governing body saying you must have subtitles.
Yeah.
But
I can't remember the last game
Games
that I
have
played that did
subtitles.
not have subtitles.
Yeah.
That was like a major release.
right.
I don't think
Can't
it's
think of one.
I don't think it's possible to read Dragon Lips. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But they should probably put that in there. We got another email about that. I didn't track down the source of this, but this other email claimed that one of the other excuses they gave is that the original game also didn't have them.
Oh well, hey, yeah, don't.
Yeah, it's impossible.
They probably shouldn't have changed the graphics to make them better at all if that's the thing they're going to lean on. So like both things they've tried to lean on in this just make them
They
look
should have
worse.
shipped a PS1 disc.
Yeah,
Was that
there you
This
go.
is what the original
All
was
right,
on.
here you go.
was that Toys for Bob?
Yeah, they did the.
It was, right?
Yeah, they did the work.
I have to imagine they will add this. Like it feels like there are enough. people.
Yeah,
Enough-
and also like
And
that's
like I'd make no assumptions about development costs, but like it couldn't be that. It couldn't be so costly that it's worth this level of ire from people, right?
Yeah, I've
Right.
seen
You don't
what
just go
it
back
can
and do
cost to get like YouTube videos subtitled. And granted, there's a lot more dialogue in a game than a
and
YouTube
it has to be like
video,
spaced and it's interactive and you have
Yeah,
to
I'm
code
sure.
for it. And there's
Yeah,
a lot of
I'm
stuff.
sure.
there's a
but-
lot of layers on top of that, but still, like,
but like it's not doing right by your customers.
no.
And also like the thing I said, like Call of Duty has subtitles for competitive multiplayer. Like
Yeah.
it pops up and says like Team Deathmatch, and that's a subtitle if you want it to be. Like there's other Activision games are going, let's say, above and beyond to fucking have tons of subtitles and all this other stuff that like you look at and go like, oh wow, they really tried to subtitle everything. It's weird for Spyro to not have it from the same company and for them to like do this weird dance of like, oh, it's not a thing. It just, I think, just makes them look way worse.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily as a critic it's one's job to lower the score for a theoretical issue, right? Like, I'm not going to necessarily, like, if I have an imaginary spreadsheet of points in my head for a game, I'm not going to certainly docket points here. But where it is your responsibility is to, like, speak out about it.
Yeah,
and,
call
and
it
try
out.
and push.
Okay, this is
that it's something that we.
If you noticed it,
progress
it's
on.
something worth
Yeah.
it's something worth mentioning for sure. But not everyone's going to be equipped to notice some of the things that might
Exactly.
be accessibility issues for others, and
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. So I think there are more people out there. There are a lot of people out there commenting on games, and people with different things going on, and I think you could find people that are equipped to address some of that stuff.
Juan in Caracas, Venezuela. With the Castlevania animated series going strong and a Devil May Cry series apparently being planned, what do you think should be the next video game franchise to receive an animated adaptation? I think Metal Gear Solid is a safe choice, but something like Yakuza or Valkyria Chronicles could also be pretty interesting.
They could never do a Metal Gear
Anime. Well, does that Castlevania thing qualify as anime, or is it just animated?
Yeah.
I'd say it's a cartoon.
Okay. Is it? Where's it produced?
That's a good question.
I think it's like how the new Voltron is kind of America anime.
What is anime really?
Well, Webster's Dictionary defines anime as hardcore pornography.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, weird is this?
I think when in doubt, just call it anime, and it's not worth like trying to split hairs about where it was made. And all
Yeah,
that
because
other
the only
stuff.
people who are
It's-
going to get mad at you are anime fans.
yeah,
and they're already
they're
mad.
not worth. Yeah.
Well,
No,
I
that's-
don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm fine calling it anime only if it's from Japan because that's the assumption. I don't know.
Well, like Ruby is an anime that's made in America.
Well, I guess that then raises the question: is anime just a style,
It's like champagne.
or is it like is it
Technically, all
is it like
champagne.
bourbon?
Or it's this is sparkling wine.
like
This is champagne.
all anime has to come from Kentucky?
Look at you go to a one wine tasting, and now you're a Mr. Champagne.
That's right, Mr. Champagne in the
Champagne
motherfucking
poppy.
house.
Video game.
Double distilled charcoal filtered sour mash anime
Champ.
from Bourbon County, Kentucky.
Champ.
Okay. Wikipedia refers to the Castlevania thing as an American adult animated web television series.
Oh, that's really rolls off the tongue. I think Metal Gear would be interesting, but only if it was done in the style and with the quality of writing of the G.I. Joe cartoon.
Okay.
If it was just the characters
Snakes
of that
in a coma.
just like all that same dumb shit, but Metal Gear. That's
I don't know. I feel like, narrative video game stuff never works. I mean, this Castlevania series is actually pretty good. It's the first one that has. So maybe you can do it. I'm trying to think of something that's broad enough. Because you don't want to tell the same story that you already
Right.
heard.
yeah.
WWE anime.
Mm-hmm. Mega Man.
Yeah.
Final Fight.
I like that
I
old
can
Mega
see,
Man.
I can see a
cartoon.
Final Fight being pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Final Fight. That's good.
There's enough weird stuff going on there where this pro wrestling mayor,
The Mad Gear Gang is
Jailbird Cody.
is
Yeah.
straight
all
out of
this-
anime.
Yeah, totally. Gareth from Ipswich. I'm not sure where that is.
Near Burbank, I think.
Okay. Is Rayman a cheap imitation of Plock?
Huh.
Both have floating arms and legs and throw them as weapons. Plock was around 2 years before Rayman. Also, why weren't there more Plock games? We need more harmonicas in video game soundtracks.
Well, I think you can have more harmonicas in video game soundtracks without having to invoke Plock.
That's right. You can just do another Blues Brothers game.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up with Plock?
Yeah, Plock's a weird. Plock was in. It's an arcade game, isn't it?
This
Plock?
says Super NES.
Okay.
This whole email collapses in on itself if you don't know a lot about Plock.
I don't know anything about Plock.
I figured Jeff would know some stuff
Yeah,
about it.
it's Plock is a it was a mascotty kind of little dude.
How do you spell
He-
Plock?
PLOK.
PLOK. He does look a
He
good
does
bit.
look Rayman-esque.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about Rystar?
What about Restar? Yeah.
He's kind of like a Rayman.
He's got he's got stretchy arms. He's like
Does he?
Dalsim.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought he just had hands. Okay.
Yeah. His shit stretches. Totally different. I'm gonna say they stole everything about Rayman from Plock.
That's right.
Does Plock have rabbits?
Let's get the creators of
Yeah.
Plock on the phone.
Plock is a rabid, weirdly enough.
They're ribbids.
He is the original,
Little
yeah.
frogs.
And they're crazy. These frogs.
They got their dick out.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a crazy frog.
Ben from Cincinnati.
It's just me, but on spaghetti.
Who let the frogs out?
Uh,
A hit from your boy Crazy Frog.
all right. This email's from Ben in Cincinnati. I used to work for the Air Force's research laboratory. In our division, we pursued the study of stress and fatigue based on brain activity using various headsets and testing methods with the eventual idea of being applicable to in-cockpit pilot applications. One of our labs developed co-op Tetris, where one person would control the spin and the other person would control the movement of the piece. They would attach the electrodes or headsets to them, take their baselines, then test them under various conditions in the same room, separate rooms with a mic or completely cut off, etc. Co-op Tetris was a blast when they brought the build to work parties. After a couple of beers, it could get very competitive with people quickly breaking down and blaming the other person when the piece doesn't go exactly where they think it should.
Yeah.
That would make me. There's no way I could do that. There's no way I could play co-op Tetris.
That sounds...
You have to find the right partner. It's so you have
That's
to
right.
you have to be able to drift.
You got to find,
Oh
yeah.
my god, it is like Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to find somebody who's you just finish each other's sentences. And then,
Sentences.
yes.
No.
No, a little too
What?
slow on the... Got to be a little quicker on the
Sen-
draw.
sandwiches.
Nope.
No.
Let it go.
No.
We're never going to play co-op Tetris. They should send us that build.
I would.
Yeah. I would like
Send
to
us your
see-
government-funded
Yes.
Black Ops Tetris project.
That's our taxes made that game. I think I'm technically an executive producer of
That's right.
Co-op Tetris.
Terrell from Pennsylvania. I was thinking about getting Red Dead Redemption 2, but the old Western cowboy setting and aesthetic is the 100% complete opposite of what I enjoy. It literally pushes me away. The same can be said for the setting in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, as I seem to vibe more with Origins. Has a game's aesthetic ever completely turned you off to playing it?
I was completely put off from playing Dust for a really long time.
Oh.
An Elysian Tale.
Oh, yeah, that
Uh,
was a pretty common sentiment at the time.
But when it came to Switch, I finally pulled the trigger and didn't get super far just because I got sidetracked. But I like it.
That game's great.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's got a good combat system.
But that's kind of the first one I think of.
Yeah. I can't think of anything. Like, I'm willing to give any setting a shot because I think it's more about how successfully they execute or what they do with it than...
I think there are definitely some settings that I like more than others, but yeah,
Yeah.
like like I've definitely enjoyed games that are outside of like the things I would go watch a movie about, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I think like Red Dead and some of the weirder Assassin's Creeds are more interesting just because they do things that aren't touched on much in games.
Exactly. I'm kind of pushed away from like medieval settings
Right.
just because I've
Yes.
seen
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
almost everything that has to offer, unless
There's
somebody's
like
coming crazy with it.
Sci-fi, futuristic, real-world medieval, or fantasy. like are just done to fucking death in video games.
Like, it's not to say there are no new spins on those
Yeah.
possible, but
like
you
Cyberpunk
see
looks
a lot
like
of
a pretty cohesive thing.
You're going to be judged against
But-
everything else in the genre.
yeah.
But
But
yeah,
like Cyberpunk looks like a cohesive thing, a cohesive execution of.
or it's got its own spin, is what I mean. Like it's not
Yeah,
just sort of generic future sci-fi.
I guess I would say for games it does, but like
they're
they're pulling
that
from
that milieu is like
Yeah.
as cliched as it gets,
Right.
But there haven't been a lot of games like that,
or that have done it well.
right?
Yeah.
But like you can count Western video games on two hands. Like there hasn't been a lot of ancient Egypt out there. Like
Right.
I'm super into stuff like that. How about?
I feel like we probably got a lot more ancient Egypt stuff back when video games were new because it was hard to draw stuff, but pyramids were really easy to show
Sure.
and
Sure.
looked impressive.
This is from Brian. This is the strangest email I've ever gotten. And he forwarded an email addressed from PlayStation. Hello. Well, I'm not going to read his username, but it says, hello, his username. We wanted to update you on a planned service shutdown, which
I got this
impacts,
email,
you
yeah.
got it, which impacts online access for Warhawk, Twisted Metal, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and Sound Shapes. This has now been extended to January 31st, 2019 at 12 a.m. Pacific Time. Following the shutdown, Warhawk will no longer be playable unless the PS3 system is set to LAN mode for local network play. For Twisted Metal and PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, users can play the campaign offline, as well as local couch multiplayer in split-screen mode.
Oh, thank God.
For
Tournament
sound,
scene will still stay alive.
That's right.
For Sound Shapes, users will be able to play the campaign and all DLC purchases, as well as create their own levels. However, users won't be able to share their levels with the community or download community-created levels.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I think did this come up on the after show last week? I saw someone talking about this, and maybe it was on the Beastcast. Anyway, the thought was that maybe they got out there and announced these shutdowns, but didn't stick to their own EULA
That's
about
what I
like
saw.
90-day shutdown. Yeah.
That they had violated messaging around those
Yeah.
games when they launched that said they would get X number of 90 days of notification or something if the
Yeah.
servers were going to go down.
This
and
is
then they
probably
didn't do it.
them. This is probably them covering their
Yeah,
ass.
and then making good on that.
Yeah.
I was all ready for the next class action lawsuit against Sony.
I know. Yeah.
Damn.
Think about what we could have gotten, like a premium theme.
I wonder if you went and downloaded a bunch of Sound Shapes levels before this happens, if they would become unplayable after it all goes offline.
Right. Like, can you? Well, it depends. I don't know how the game is built. If it's
Yeah.
like you can carry those levels with you in offline. You'd like to think someone's out there downloading every level ever.
Somebody should find out.
God, what a good name for a game. Sound Shapes.
Sound
Yeah.
Shapes is cool.
It's neat.
That was a neat idea for a game. I feel
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale is a neat idea for a game also.
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel very proud of myself because I have a backup of PT on my NAS now.
Mm.
Because I realized you could use the PS4's like USB system backup thing,
Oh, right.
and you can
Yeah.
specify which games you want it to back up as part of it. Just makes a bunch of like .dat files
Oh,
that function as you put
Yeah.
them in the right directories and you can restore. So I basically just made a system backup with just PT checked,
Hmm.
and then copy those files off. So now I can delete PT and not care.
did you test that out?
That's my story.
Did you try that
Yes,
out to make sure it all
yes,
still works?
Yes,
okay.
I
all right.
restored from that backup, and
Okay.
PT was there. It was when I bought that new PS4
Oh, okay.
a week or so ago. Anthony from the UK. Hitman 2 is now out, but have you guys noticed that the Hitman games are really easy if you play them like Gears of War? Hitman only gets hard when you want to do a suit-only silent assassin run.
Yeah, I mean, if you just hide behind cover and just start shooting people,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't
You
take a
can-
lot of hits.
Well,
so
yes,
it's
yes, you
it's a
are-
matter of like,
You are very fragile in those games,
Yeah.
but if you are good at not getting shot,
mhm.
you could pretty much murder hundreds of people in every level.
Yeah, kind of depends on, and you don't have a ton of ammo all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you kind of have to move point to point and pick up guns off people.
Did you guys kill Sean Bean?
I just
Not
launched
yet.
today.
Oh,
Yeah, I just launched this morning.
Thought it
I
was
think
over the
I
weekend.
just got the press release like a couple hours ago that it was live. And I think we've got like 2 weeks on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
it's a good solid window.
Yeah.
But I will absolutely be attempting that. I had thought about talking about it on here, and I guess now I'm talking about it, but the UK physical only sales numbers came out, and Hitman 2 was like number 10 on that list or something, and people going like, it's a failure. But that's such an incomplete picture that I don't feel like it's...
Yeah, it's
one territory.
An indicator.
It's physical only.
Sequel to an episodic
yeah,
game
for
that
a game that was,
a lot of people probably played digitally
yes,
and are used to playing digitally.
It was a game. The first game was digital only for the first year. I'm not going to read too much into that yet, but I hope that game does well because they should make more of that.
They should make more of that.
Yeah. I want to know how the story ends, which is ridiculous.
You should see if it's just a retelling of the stories from the older games. And
no, because it follows after that stuff.
Oh, you're right.
It references all that stuff.
You're right.
This is definitely set later.
Yeah.
Casey from Michigan.
Well, then go watch the movie.
Oh, of course.
For the true origins of Agent 47.
Yes, of course. I'm sitting here staring at Mass Effect Andromeda on the PlayStation Store for the sale price of $7.50.
Seems high.
I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, but steered away from Andromeda for obvious reasons. My question is if there is $7.50 worth of entertainment in the worst game of 2017, even if simply as a curiosity. Also, did you see Casey Hudson dropping hints about the next Mass Effect game? Anyone cautiously optimistic about the future of the franchise?
What? No.
They did some for, I think it was for N7 Day.
Right.
They did some community appreciation video or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, I did not include that in news at the time because it seemed so thin. He basically says something about the future of the Mass Effect franchise and kind of does a turn toward the camera in a way that some people took to mean that another Mass Effect will happen.
I mean,
another Mass Effect will happen.
If you stretch out into infinite time, yes. But Anthem ships and then Dragon Age, presumably.
Yeah,
they've been working on Dragon Age.
There was all this word that Dragon Age 4 has been in production for a while. And you assume they will do a lot of post-release Anthem stuff.
Yeah.
If that game is the sort of online service game they want it to be,
right,
they will probably be pumping out stuff for Anthem for some time.
I think they could make another Mass Effect and it could be okay.
Totally.
Yeah,
but I think they need some distance. I
Yeah.
think you need some more, it shouldn't happen soon.
Yes.
Like Anthem needs to come out and Dragon Age needs to come out, and then they probably need to spend a good long time focusing on Anthem, unless Anthem tanks and then they cut and run or whatever. But
I mean, I think we had a news story that said this exactly, but I don't know if BioWare survives Anthem tanking.
If Anthem tanks, then maybe that's it. But
I could be wrong about that.
But assuming those two games do fine to great, then maybe on the other end of that, you're like, okay, we have another idea for a Mass Effect game, and it is not Andromeda 2.
I don't know what they do.
It is, it's a big universe. You can tell a zillion different stories.
Yeah, but they closed that book so thoroughly in the first one. That's the whole reason they went to another galaxy.
Right.
Or in the first trilogy, I mean. They solved all of that universe's problems.
Yeah, reboot it.
So,
new Shepard, new aliens.
He's a lady now.
Wait, what?
Whoa.
Don't buy Mass Effect Andromeda.
For $7.50.
It's not just the money; it's the time you're putting into this game that you could be putting into other things.
Your time is worth more than that.
Maybe. I mean, if he says he's a huge Mass Effect fan, I think it's probably worth at least trying it for that price just to see what.
I think as a huge Mass Effect fan, the minute you open that book, you're going to play the whole thing.
Well, maybe not, but you could also argue that he might be kind of sullying his impression of the Mass Effect franchise.
You've held off for this long.
Yeah. Let's see. If
what I'm saying is free is too expensive for that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're super curious about what it is, my understanding is they at least fixed it up technically enough that it's not the train wreck that it was at launch.
My understanding is that they killed Mass Effect.
I mean, they also did that, but all right. Last email. Rick,
I don't know. I heard they're making a new Mass Effect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ask Casey Hudson.
He said it to me.
Yeah.
Rick in Nashville.
My uncle works for BioWare.
Mm-hmm. He says
he's Garrus.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Man, your uncle's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Between the two podcasts, I believe you've both talked about punching horses multiple times over the last few weeks. Here's a story. My friend punched a Clydesdale one time as he was responsible for them at a stable. Apparently, that's how you get them to listen to you, since a punch just feels like a push to these giant beasts. Regardless of whether this is true or not, he couldn't come to my wedding because a cop saw him do it and he was arrested.
Your friend just didn't want to go to your wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I really wanted to go. I got you a big, expensive gift and everything, but cop saw me punching a horse, and I went to horse jail. Sorry.
Spent night in the clink. I'm sorry.
Oh, the who's gal.
Though if Red Dead's anything to be a reference for anything, just walking into somebody's horse will get you fucking thrown in jail.
Yeah.
So
I finally accidentally punched my horse the other day.
I've still never
And
punched
it felt
my horse.
terrible. I don't know how it happened.
Do you lose standing with the horse when it happens?
No, you can't. You can't. That experience
Does it
bar
just
can't,
freak out and
can't
run
be
away?
reversed. It definitely acted like it was very put out with me until I fed it and brushed it.
I got a new horse. I felt so bad for my old horse.
Why? Where is your old horse?
It's fine. It's
Put
in
it
the stable.
Yeah,
but I got like level 10 with it. And I'm never going to ride it
Your-
again
your
because I got an
horse-
Arabian.
Oh, you got an Arabian?
Yeah.
Fuck,
It's
man.
$1,000.
Oh, you bought it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about doing that. But
Dude, I'm rich. I'm fucking
how
flush.
much money do you have?
Well, now I like fully decked out everything. So now I'm down to like the hundreds.
Or
but
what's the max you've had?
like 3,500?
Oh, wow. Maybe I should spend some money then. I have almost 5,000.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Go treat yourself.
I don't know why I'm hoarding it.
Get your guns looking all
I've
nice.
got a
I got
pretty
these
good-
cool like
I-
gold and pearl guns.
I have been doing that.
Yeah.
I have been spending a ridiculous amount of time making gold inlays in my guns that I'm barely ever going to see.
Yeah.
But I can't stop fucking RPing in that game, which is ridiculous. We'll talk about it later. That's it for emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. I feel like I'm reeling from new console news still. Like,
Well, it's weird
I feel
because
like we're in a whole different
not,
world
It's
now.
not really new console news,
No,
but
not-
it is.
it's not in any way
It's the
confirmed.
absence of new console
Yes.
news that you can start to fill in those
Yes.
gaps with,
Yeah.
like, okay, they would do this for this.
I felt like I had done some kind of about face when I saw that PS5 2020 thing of just like, holy shit, we've only got 2 years, really? Like, is that where we're at now?
I feel like that's where we've been at. I don't
Maybe.
know. Like, I know some people thought maybe more like 2021, but I feel like 2020 has made sense to me, at least since E3. I don't know. You know, Microsoft talked up, a lot about what they saw as the future of the Xbox. Like at E3, they were,
Sure. Yes,
kind of addressing a little bit of this Scarlet stuff.
that's fair.
Then, so
Yeah.
or the streaming stuff. You know, they talked that up prior to the show, and
Yeah.
so they kind of kicked it off then.
Yes. All right. That's pretty much going to do it for the podcast. Do we have any housekeeping stuff?
Sale.
Yes.
Sale.
That's right.
I thought so.
Giant Bomb premium memberships are on sale right now. You can head to giantbomb.com. There's a news story up that'll tell you all about that. You can extend if you're already a member. If you want to sign up, you can sign up. $35. And also, a lot of merchandise is on sale right now, and including
Some new merch.
we got some new merch as well.
Oh.
Some pins.
Whoa.
People like pins.
Really nice pins.
These pins came out good, and I'm not just saying that because it's a pin that looks like me.
No, these are some like.
I like the Alex pin a lot, actually.
Yeah.
That's the premier pin.
That's pretty good, Alex Pin.
Yeah.
I feel like. Hoodies.
Hoodies.
New hoodie?
Yeah, we're taking orders. I think the initial run of the new hoodies sold out.
Yeah,
but
that's why I was
we will
asking.
be taking. I don't know if it's up now or if it will go up soon, but we will be taking pre-orders for a second run of those hoodies.
Maybe I can get one this time.
Yeah, maybe me too. I don't know. Yeah,
They went fast.
They're nice looking hoodies.
Yeah.
So,
They're comfy.
It's like a new era, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So check all that stuff out. Again, giantbomb.com. There's a big old story up about the sale and the merchandise and all that sort of stuff. Pictures of it, all that business.
Yeah.
So give it a look.
Yes. Short week here, obviously.
Yep.
With the
Thanksgiving holiday.
Thanksgiving holiday coming. We'll have some stuff
Yeah.
happening between now and Wednesday, though. The Artifact video's up already.
Yep.
You guys are going to check out Battlefield.
PlayStation Classic.
That's a ways off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Yup.
Some stuff.
Some stuff.
We'll hit the website.
That's right.
Stuff.
And then
After show coming up.
yes,
That's right.
After
Stay
show
tuned.
directly after this. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Giant Bombcast.